telling you straight, it's my way or the highway. So anybody who wants to walk, do it now.
Would you classify that as a launch problem or a design problem?
I was thinking of the immortal words of Socrates, who said, I was thinking of the immortal words of Socrates, who said,
Groovy.
I was thinking of the immortal words of Socrates, who said,
Take off, eh?
I was thinking of the immortal words of Socrates, who said,
It's good to be the king.
I was thinking of the immortal words of Socrates, who said,
I'm dead sexy.
I was thinking of the immortal words of Socrates, who said,
I'm a land farmer, motherfucker.
Beef jerky?
Oh, no, son, thank you very much. No, it gives me the wind, something terrible.
Oh.
I feel like a Kentucky Fried Idiot.
He's you real nice. If I didn't have puke breath, I'd kiss you.
Why don't you just sit there and bleed a while before you taste some real pain?
Well, it's a well-known fact, Sonny Jim, that there's a secret society of the 5 wealthiest people in the world, known as the Pentaveret, who run everything in the world, including the newspapers, and meet tri-annually at a secret country mansion in Colorado known as the Meadows.
So who's in this Pentaveret?
The Queen, the Vatican, the Gettys, the Rothschilds, and Colonel Sanders before he went tits up.
Dr. Evil. I didn't spend 6 years in evil medical school to be called Mr. Thank you very much.
I am a HAL 9000 computer. I became operational at the HAL plant in Urbana, Illinois on the 12th of January, 1992.
To be a moron. To be moronical. An imbecile.
Diet Coke!
Man, you are one pathetic loser.
I know that you and Frank were planning to disconnect me. Let me put it this way, Mr. Raymer. The 9000 series is the most reliable computer ever made.
I was so slick. I had it together, and I turned it on, and then I turned the music off, and then the thing went off, and the other thing, and then yeah, I had it. It was so I need like 3 switches. That's what I need. Thank you. I need something that goes click, click, click. And I try to automate all these things to go all at once. And there's a couple of them that just don't want to behave. And every time I sign on, this is one of the things I can't figure out. And I'm named after a computer. I've got some of this stuff, dialed in. is that every time I sign on, my microphone is at a different volume. I look tired? Thanks very much. I am tired. Thanks for spotting it. Got up early this morning because Camden's got Ninja Camp. So there you go. But hi. Yeah, I need like, that would be a great idea, is like Bluetooth foot pedals. That was some Paul Stanley like hair you were rocking in that photo. Yeah, like Paul Stanley in The Elder, his was way bigger. I have much bigger hair than that. That was transitional long hair. That's where my hair will be in another 3 months of quarantine. Christina, thank you so much. We're so glad to be part of your day, and everybody in the chat loves you, and thank you. And that's really awesome. Yes, Trump is full of crap. We will be getting to that. Don't know no Mickey Ficky. So I'm, you need to build it as a scene in OBS. I do have it built as a scene in OBS. That's the point. I don't understand why the volume is different every time I turn the computer on, because I've got 3 pieces of software that are involved in the audio that comes from my face to you. One is the mic's input on the computer. The other is loopback, which takes all the sources, squeezes them into one thing, and runs them your way. The other is OBS, which takes those sounds, wraps them all up, puts a bow on them, and hands them to you. And somewhere along the way, there's a quitter. It's like a sock that just wants to jerk around. Now, somebody's going, what? No mixer? No, because I'm doing it all on the computer, because once we do go back to traveling, I have to be able to take this with me. But we'll see. Because I'm still going to keep, I've decided that we're going to keep doing this by hook or by crook, if you guys are on board, for the foreseeable future. At the very least, until we get to like January 19th of next year, and everybody's like, you know what? Just go do some I Love the 80s. It's cool, man. I'll see you in a month. And I'm very for it. I look forward to that day. But in the meantime, full court press, all hands on deck. That's where we are. And hello. Did you guys like the picture I posted on Twitter/Instagram? That's really a picture of me and my dad. It's not costumes. Those are our clothes. There you go. Thank you, Raphael. Steph in the morning, Stern in the middle, and you at the end of the workday. Thanks for all you do. That's fantastic. I am so happy to be part of that peculiar Oreo, Raphael. That's fantastic. That's good company. I had a great Howard Stern moment. I went on Stern to promote Queer as Folk. It was my only time on Howard Stern's show. And it was abundantly clear to me that while we used clips on Talk Soup when I was there of Stern a couple of times, not a lot, because it was the funnier stuff was hard to get clearance for a regular show. But I went on the show, and it was, they tend to punk people and tend to like try to get you to say stuff that will get you in trouble, and it's the nature of the show, and I have no problem with that whatsoever. I'm completely willing to say things that will get me in trouble, even in the modern cancel culture as it is. I don't care. I'm a good person. I can weather it. So anyways, Jill wanted me to tell everybody her dad is in heart surgery this morning and is doing well. She'll be at the hospital for 5 days. Oh, well, big hugs to Jill. We send our love to you. And when you scroll back and watch these at your leisure or on your device, know that we're all hugging you, Jill. So, by the way, Jill is also my sister's name, which is kind of nice. So anyways, I was on there promoting Queer as Folk. And I realized when I walked into the room that Stern thought I was gay. He thought I was gay and in the closet specifically. Not that they wouldn't have gay guests on their show or anything. That wasn't what it was. But he literally, you could tell he thought this guy's gay and he's pretending to be straight. And so the whole show will be about making him, Matlantla? That's amazing as a name. In South America or South Africa? I think there was an F miss there. So I'm going to go with South Africa. Hello. So I think it was abundantly clear when I walked in that he was like, that was his preconceived notion about who I was as a person. He was convinced, either from the watching the show or clips of the show, or the fact that Robin watched the show. That's why I was on, was because she liked the show and watched it. And then when I walked in the room, you could almost see him kind of go, "Oh, he's not gay." Like his gaydar was pretty solid. He just never met me before. And so I'm guessing, anyways. I don't know the extent of his ability to judge sexuality from a distance. Brazil, look at that. We got people from all over. I'm starting to feel like Dr. John Campbell in here. People are sending love from all over the globe. And welcome, by the way. Hello. Welcome to our collective struggle for a better society. But you could see him deflate because he had this whole, he saw me kissing a dude on a show and thought Hannibal Lecter really ate a census taker with some fava beans, right? It's an easy mistake. Yeah, so it basically threw his whole plan into reverse. And so he had this, like the rest of the show was just about him trying to get me to either address or say or confirm that kissing a dude is gross. That seemed to be the entirety of the whole thing. Which, if you're straight, it is. That's the beauty of sexuality. And hence, if you're gay, it isn't. See what I mean? Which is why gay people shouldn't be forced into fake heterosexual relationships. See, because if it's not your thing, it's not your thing. It's gross, not because it's gross, but because it's gross to you. See, perspective, relativity, being what it is, applied to sexuality. It's a fascinating thought form. Bing! See, to straight guys, kissing another straight guy can be gross. And that's what makes it specifically gay to be gay. In the same way that gay people can't just shrug off being gay and then start being straight. You know what I mean? Like, it matters to you. Sexuality matters. It's a real thing. Go figure. It should be weird to you because that's life. You know what I mean? But there was a real, like, moment where he was like, crap, how do we even go there? And it was like, is it gross? I'm like, well, it would be for you, but yeah, I guess. Sex scenes are kind of gross. It's like all sex scenes, when you're doing a sex scene, and whenever you are lucky enough in your life to have a sex scene filmed, all sex scenes are like simulating sex with a cousin on the Thanksgiving dinner table in front of all your relatives. Now, I'm not saying some people wouldn't get off on that. I've been to Tennessee, but in general, it's weird. It's a weird thing, especially when it's shot in Canada. It's supposed to be summer, but you're shooting in winter. The studio is freezing. Everyone else is wearing parkas indoors and can see their breath, and they're spritzing you with water with oil in it to make your skin look sweaty. It's very titillating, the whole thing. Just saying, it's peculiar as an experience. And while arousal and excitement with the partner of your choice might lead to some excitement at some point, I'm going to say for a record that some of my partners enjoyed being around me. Just put it that way. And I can't say I blame them. Because, but it's not reciprocal because it's not the way I go. Any more than you can just expect gay people to just stop being gay. Like the amazing thing is that when people who are straight or gay go, I don't like that other gender or that other thing, suddenly the people who are against that somehow are like magically pro-conversion therapy, it seems. That I've never understood that. So, anyways, it's yeah. So as someone, I could never do porn too many on set. I'm not modest. Yeah, well, there's security cam porn, I suppose, if for the faint of heart. But point being is the one that's my Stern story, was being on Stern. Who was a better scene partner, Chris Potter or Robert Gant? Robert. I mean, Robert and I went through a lot more stuff. Robert's a fantastic actor. Chris is a good guy. I don't have any problems with Chris. He's a solid actor. But the storylines that Robert and I got to work on were heavy duty and impressive and difficult, and having a scene partner that can see you through that stuff is pretty extraordinary, you know. So I will always be grateful to Robert Gant for being, you know, a great scene partner and a great on-screen partner for those storylines, because it was a lot. I mean, some of the Dr. Dave stuff had definite emotion to it. It was a crucial relationship in that storyline. But the stuff with, you know, the HIV positive negative stuff and the family and the adoption and the, you know, all that stuff is enormous. So there you go. Voila. Welcome aboard. Hi, everybody on Twitch as well. Hello. Thanks for joining us. Hi, Facebook people. Mind yourselves. Behave yourselves. These Facebook people, man. I mean, either learn some manners because you're coming to my channel and act as a decent human being. Don't Karen your way around a Target, because it's not a public gathering per se. You can always watch the show and scream at your computer. You don't have to join the chat and be an a-hole. But in the process, if you're not going to do that, at least get a better Russian to English translator. You know what I mean? Yeah. Either way, go to YouTube. Infotainmentwars.com is the site. Give us a thumbs up and a like and help us out and help us grow the channel, because that's the whole point. You know, for the longest time, I'm trying to corral all these folks in one, you know, just herding cats. But I decided that ubiquity and overwhelm were my biggest weapons. So that's what we're going to do. All right. So Trump is convinced that we should open yesterday and that schools need to open immediately. I guess, considering he's sort of hands-off when it comes to child rearing until he's hands-on. He doesn't know when school starts and stops. Maybe he doesn't know it's summer. Maybe he thinks kids go away in the summer just like COVID-19. They disappear to their moms, you know? I don't know. I cut your hair? No. No, Marcus, I'm keeping my hair long and it's going to keep growing. It's going to get bigger and fluffier and longer. Yeah. We're going straight for the whole big boom. By the time this is all done, I'm going to look like Braveheart. I insist. So, yeah. So, here he is. Big. And I don't know. Is that a big pink carpet behind him? It looks like one. But the big pink carpet, I think, is normally more red. But I think they took some of the red out to take some of the orange off his face. And it's not working. Because he's definitely super orange today. You try to be a chia pet, yeah. I've had ponytails before. Yeah. This is pretty amazing. We go live-ish to this nonsense. Let's see how this goes.
And for those of you that this is the first time, I know exactly what you're thinking.
No, you don't. What could he possibly be? Why doesn't his face match his ears? You're thinking, can you dye hair with urine? You're thinking, why wouldn't he get a collar that fits instead of stuffing his neck waddle in and creating this vaginal fold in the front? No? Wait. What else are we thinking? We're thinking, did he put that makeup on himself at a mall in Tennessee going, no, I can do it? We're thinking, oh, what else? Gosh. We're thinking, that's a mighty fine Chinese-American flag pin you've got there. Okay, what are we thinking?
Because I was here a first time.
Wait, what was that? What was the Bob thing? Jesus, how big is the type on that stuff? What was that? Hold on.
It's time to do it.
Ew. That's terrible. Why won't it go back? I want it to go back to the top of the page. I want to see what it said on his little paper that he had with us. We'll have to go forward and then come back to it.
You know, our mortality rate is right now at a level that people don't talk about.
Has anybody else been watching the news lately?
But it's down tenfold. So
down tenfold from the apex in April? You mean when the big, highly populated areas first got it, and the rural areas hadn't had it yet, and now it's on the rise in the rural areas, where it will peak in about 3 or 4 weeks, and that's when the death.
You look at deaths are.
That's good. That's great. Great opening salvo. We're talking about schools today. You're looking at deaths.
Way down from this horrible China virus.
Way down from this horrible China virus, just right out of the gate.
It's a disgrace that it happened. Shouldn't have happened, but it did. And the economy is coming back, and it's coming back strongly. Jobs are setting records. For 2 months ago, they set the record, and then again, almost 5 million new jobs.
They're not new jobs. They're old jobs people are going back to. He's still on this whole thing. Yeah, the China virus. That's what gave him his neck waddle.
Last month, which is a record.
It's not a record. Not a record. Any more than Friday when people go home for the weekend and they come back on Monday. All the people that come back on Monday are not new jobs.
And it broke our last record of a month before. So the numbers are
in your head, you crazy person.
Happening much faster than anybody anticipated.
The numbers are happening much faster than anybody could have. The what?
Anticipated. The stock market, NASDAQ, just hit another record today. And the markets generally are just really a very small amount below where they were at the height of the market when we first had to do this about.
Yeah, because the market does better when people are out of work. When companies can operate leaner, they have a higher profit margin. A lot of these jobs aren't coming back. We have 11% unemployment right now, and a good chunk of those are never coming back. Those people will have to find other jobs.
4.5, 5 months ago, and it's incredible what's happened.
Yes, I would agree. 133,000 dead Americans is incredible. It's incredibly horrible.
When you look at education, my administration has approved $13 billion for state and local education.
You mean the standard budget?
We've approved over $6 billion to support colleges and another $6 billion.
You approved it, right, because it was in a Democratic bill from the House.
There's an emergency grants to students, very importantly. We waived standardized testing requirements, deferred federal student.
Yeah, that helps. Waive the standardized testing because no one's going to school because in the middle of the last semester, everyone was trying not to die.
Loan and interest payments. So you take a look at the student loan program.
Yeah, because there's a pandemic. This isn't a policy brag.
And we've waived student loan and interest payments, and that is something that people haven't been hearing about, and nobody talks about it, but it's a big deal. We've pioneered new.
People talked about it. It was expected.
Treatments that are dramatically improving the health outcomes. Vaccines are doing very well. Therapeutics are doing very well. The therapeutic research has been incredible. And
yeah, it's been great. Thank you, South Korea and England, for giving us the 2 treatments that are the most effective.
I think you're going to have a lot of big things happening long before the end of the year, both vaccines and therapeutics. Therapeutics is, I guess, a little bit of a word we can use for on the way to a cure.
Therapeutics is a little bit of a word we can use for on the way to a cure. This is a grown man.
But they make you better. I mean,
Oh, okay, good. Therapeutics make you better. Cool. I guess they wouldn't be therapeutics if they didn't.
The therapeutic is even.
Charlie Daniels just died. Trump ordered all crosses to be burned at half-mast. I have to say I was in Charlie Daniels' store in Tennessee, and he had a shelf in the back of stuff you could buy of like racist salt shakers and pitchers and stuff, like Aunt Jemima-esque bric-a-brac. Pass.
More important than the vaccine at this
But please tell me how Noam Chomsky and Salman Rushdie need to be canceled.
point, because people will get better. But the numbers are, the testing numbers are the highest they've ever been. We're almost up to 40 million in testing. And
yeah, it's a contagious disease. If you didn't have it yesterday, you could get it tomorrow. These aren't, you're not putting a pin. Well, they've been tested. That's done. We never have to test them again.
40 million people, which is unheard of, far more
No, it's heard of. I heard it.
than any other country, many times what any other country is. And
Yeah, you mean the countries with 50 million people in them?
therefore, we have more cases because
No, we have more cases because we have more cases. Tests don't cause cases.
we're doing more testing, we have more cases. If
No, we don't. No, you don't. No.
we did have
You don't have more flat tires because you have a spare. You don't.
the testing, would have
The spare tire didn't cause the flat.
far fewer cases, but people don't view it that way. What they have to view, though, is
Well, tell me how to view it, big boy.
if you look at the chart, and maybe Mike has it, but
Mike, do you have a chart? They showed me a chart.
we looked at it before. If you look at
We looked at it and it was like bad thing low, good thing up.
the chart of deaths,
Mike, you have that chart of deaths, right?
deaths are way down. So what we want to do is we want to get our schools open. We want to get them open
Jesus.
quickly, beautifully in the fall.
Quickly, beautifully in the fall. With flowers and gumdrops and rainy days and la-li-la.
And
Beautifully? Opened beautifully? Who talks like that? What a weird...
as you know, this is
No, I don't know. What the are you talking about?
a disease. It's a horrible disease, but
Oh, okay, well, okay. Have you told the doctors? Do they know this?
young people do extraordinarily well. I was
At carrying it?
with the governor of New Jersey.
Oh, this is the only one person under the age of 18 died in New Jersey. This story is like 6 weeks old.
We're talking, and he said and he mentioned a number which is a very high number, but it's a number nevertheless, thousands of people. There was only one person that died that was under 18 years old in the state of New Jersey, and that
Yeah, I know. Weeks ago. Is that still true? No.
was somebody, I guess, had a problem with perhaps diabetes or something else. But one person out of thousands
Yeah. Maybe Jersey is magic. And?
of people, one person died who was
One. Under 18. How many died between 18 and 50? That's kind of a crucial section of the workforce.
under 18 years old. So that's a pretty amazing stat when you think
Under 18 IQ points, more like it. What the hell is wrong with you?
of it. But I'd like to now just give the mic to our First Lady. She's going to say a few words, and then we're going to go with Mike and Karen Pence.
Oh boy. He keeps saying her name. He's still making up for that.
We're honored to have with us today our amazing Vice President, Mike Pence, and his wonderful wife, Karen.
He's still apologizing. There's, he used to say second lady. He used to say Mrs. Pence. Now he has to say her name every time after that. Oh my God.
And then we'll go around the room a little bit, say a few words.
Melanoma, please.
Leanne, you did a great job this morning. Thank you. Really great. So if I might, First Lady, please.
You might. I don't think it's a good idea, though. Oh boy.
Thank you.
Thank you, stranger who shares a room with me.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
The first pillar of my Be Best initiative is children well-being.
Is children's well-being. Look, I have a lot of respect for people who have an accent who also speak another language. I speak other languages, and I know that I limp through some stuff. But a prepared speech is a prepared speech.
Taking care of children's social, emotional, and physical health.
So maybe your husband shouldn't foment a civil war.
Has never been more important than during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Why? It wasn't equally important during the Cold War when we were hiding under our desks for threat of a nuclear bomb hitting us? Remember that, kids?
The administration has worked around the clock to protect Americans from the coronavirus. But many challenges for children and families can be just as invisible as the virus.
Some people can have asymptomatic stress.
Just as dangerous. When children are out of school...
What do you mean I wasn't alive then? I absolutely was, YouTube.
They are missing more than just time in the classroom. They're missing the laughter of their friends.
Well, those of us that were laughed at didn't miss it at all when we were in school sometimes. Then not everybody was lucky enough to turn it into a career.
Learning from their teachers and the joy of recess and play.
No, the problem is it's like all recess and play now. Try getting them to do the school part. Getting them to play is not the hard part. Obviously playing with other kids, yeah, we got to fix that.
For children with disabilities.
I'm working on a wooden boy that I hope to bring to life to be a playmate for my son. Crossing my fingers.
Without access to technology or whose homes are not a safe place, the situation can be even worse.
Which is why I'm taking Baron back to New York.
As the start of the school year gets closer, I encourage parents, teachers, and school to teach children about the importance of CDC guidelines and to implement them when appropriate.
Yeah? But should they eat broccoli?
Children's mental health and social development must be as much of a priority as physical health. The same is true for parents. Many will be forced to make stressful choices between
Really? You don't say.
Caring for their children and going back to work. And we must address those needs as well as their own mental health and well-being. As we continue to come together as Americans to tackle these challenges, I'm honored.
Here's the thing. By the way, I would usually be sort of gloves on, as it were, with first ladies, but she was a birther, I'd like to remind you. Be best.
That you could all be here today to offer your thoughts. I look forward to working
Oh, I have some thoughts. Oh, bet your ass I have some thoughts.
with you to make sure that Americans' children and families can be healthy and thriving. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And Governor, thank you. I see you sitting over there. What a job you're
Governor, what a job you're doing. You're doing great. Which governor is this?
doing. Thank you very much for being here, Governor.
Thanks for being here. It's so fun.
And thank you, Melania, very much. We just heard Mike
Turn your mic back on.
tell me that Governor
Turn your mic back on.
DeSantis
Turn your mic back on.
doing a terrific job. He
There we
just
go.
announced that the schools
Somebody else did it.
will be open in the fall,
Now I know how you guys feel.
and we hope that most schools are going to be open. We don't want people to make political statements or do it for political reasons. I think it's going to be good for them politically, so they keep the schools closed. No way.
No. Most of the people who are rushing to open the schools are doing it politically. I believe in Trump, and John John's going to land at the base of Mount Rushmore and set everything right. I don't know how I became Gomer Pyle all of a sudden. Well, golly, we got to get these schools open.
So we're very much going to put pressure on governors and everybody else to open the schools.
So we don't want to do it for political reasons, so we're going to put pressure on governors to open the schools.
them open.
Why would they? What's the pressure part? If it's not safe, it's not safe.
And it's very important. It's very important for our country. It's very important for the well-being of the student and the parents. So we're going to be putting a lot of pressure on open your schools in the...
We're going to put a lot of pressure on open your schools. Great. Cool. Can I recommend a student who will be joining us for this semester, kids? He'll be in remedial English for most of the year. His wife has been doing her best to teach him how to speak, and it's not going well, so he decided to join us. But we're 4, and we speak better than him. Well, don't be cruel, Johnny.
Mike, please.
Mike, tell him.
Well, thank you, Mr. President.
I'd like to thank you for your leadership and just the one, and thank you for letting me sniff your water glass before you put the top back on. It's just wonderful. Say it, say it. Suck up, come on. You can't get into what you were going to say unless you kiss my ass for at least 2 minutes.
Thank you for your leadership.
That's good. Good job.
I have seen it day in and day out since you asked me to lead the White House Coronavirus Task Force. And today...
You mean after he asked Alex Azar to lead it and went, oh shit, this is going south. I have to pretend to give a crap. I'll have the VP do it.
Just one more installment in your commitment.
One more installment in your commitment. Hello. I don't know, but that sounds kind of painful.
Moon River. To make sure that our states and our families have all the resources they need to meet this moment. Our healthcare workers are provided for, but also understanding that we've got to reopen America and reopen America safely. But we convene all...
Yeah. The safely part is antithetical to the quickly part that asshole keeps saying.
These great leaders from around the country today, Mr. President, because you know that to open up America again, we need to open up our schools again. And I want to thank all those gathered here for their efforts as well.
We need to open up our butthole again.
I know I speak on behalf of my wife, Karen, when I also want to express our...
Please, thank you for name-dropping Carrot. That was really sweet. I mean, we can't just let her live with that.
We're honored to have with us today our amazing Vice President, Mike Pence, and his wonderful wife, Carrot.
Sorry.
Profound gratitude to the
for pulling us out of the yard before the rabbits could eat us.
First Lady throughout this pandemic. Her regard for families, for children, for the emotional impact that this has had on every American is so admirable. And I'd like to invite everyone to show your appreciation for our First Lady.
Give a big round of applause. I'm not just kissing the boss's ass, but I'm kissing his piece of ass's ass.
And the work she's done for America.
Is she the first third lady or the third first lady?
Mr. President, since the moment that we asked the American people to step up, to take efforts to slow the spread, and we, in that 15 days that would become 45 days, we encouraged people to refrain from attending school, if possible, to engage in school from home whenever it was possible. There were 2 categories of heroes that emerged. One was the parents around America who...
Thanks very much. As a parent, thank you. I'm now a hero.
Stepped up as never before. And those...
Wait, we've stepped up as never before? Do you know what goes on during the summer? Oh, that's right. You were a governor and a senator and a right-winger. You had either your wife did it or you hired a nanny to cover for you.
We're looking on. Those that are represented here should know. Your president, the first family, your vice president, and our second family are grateful for the families of this country and everything you've done.
These families, our families, I want to say to your families that these are the families that our family and your family believe are the families of America.
To be the teachers for your children, to create the structure at home where they could continue to learn even in a challenging time. I also want to say how grateful we are to the teachers, Mr. President, and I'm actually sitting there.
Really? So you're going to protect their unions and make sure that they get raising pay, and you're going to recognize over these times that they're not, that their union and teachers themselves aren't a special interest group like oil lobbyists, which you seem to group them in with.
The one who I've been married to for 35 years. As you know, she
Oh my God, does Karen know?
actually teaches in a local school in the Washington area a few days a week, and I watched her go in and pack up crates of art materials that children could come by and pick up and take home to continue their learning. And so I'd like to invite everybody to show your appreciation for the parents and all the great teachers who have done the work of continuing to educate our children throughout this.
Why is he calling for rounds of applause at a round table?
Truly demonstrated.
I thought this was a working group on how to get the schools back.
And, Mr. President, the American people deserve to know that while we are seeing rising cases across the Sun Belt.
Yeah, the Sun Belt. That's what it is. It's rising case. That sounds downright positive. Rising cases around the Sun Belt. Thank you, Viagra.
Direction, we're ensuring that states have the resources, the support, the supplies, and personnel that are actually arriving as we speak in states like Texas and Florida and elsewhere.
Why are you having to send extra personnel to states like Florida and Texas? Why in the world? Thank you, Mary. Yeah, we'll get to those, believe me. Why would you have to send extra help to those states? This is a hoax, okay? Don't you know this? Have you not been watching the QAnon posts? Listen to Karen, not that Karen, the other Karen. Not Carrot, the Karens. They know. Masks trap your CO2. They make you sick. Where we go, we go to the bathroom in our pants.
Healthcare workers, and to your point, I hope the American people appreciate the point that you made yesterday on the national stage and did so again today, that because of what our healthcare workers have done, because of the innovation and the medicines that we've been able to make available.
You mean dexamethasone and remdesivir? Sorry, remdesivir. Which were discovered as being having efficacy towards COVID-19 in South Korea and the UK.
Literally, we have.
But please, tell us about hydroxychloroquine again.
Seen fatalities decline by 90% from some of the worst moments of this pandemic. And we're going to continue to work each and every day to continue to keep those losses low and steady. We're going to save lives as we reopen our country. Today, right. Mr. President, as you know, we spoke to the nation's governor on the topic of...
The nation's governor? Oh, we have a governor now. Did you guys know that? What would you call the governor of a nation? What would the title be for the nation's governor? Like what? All right.
This summit, we reflected on the fact as now 47 governors and the
but if schools can open, comedy clubs can open because we're just as childish.
Of 2 territories.
By the way, I don't think comedy clubs should open.
Have announced
yet
plans to reopen schools across America, that it's important to do so for a variety of reasons. The First Lady just spoke of this. It's
mainly the economic one, because it is the main source of daycare that most parents that work have. And that's why you need the schools open. You don't care that it's going to carry the disease. You don't care that your kid's going to go to school with some Trumpster asshole who doesn't believe in masks. They're going to have an asymptomatic person in their house. They're going to cough it all over the kid, send him to school. He's going to wrestle with some kid at school because he's basically a bully, spread it everywhere, cough on kids at lunch because he thinks it's funny, wipe his boogers on their pants. They're going to take it home and kill somebody who didn't know that their kid was going to school with one of your voters.
We ought to well be concerned about children falling behind academically.
Then double down on free online learning and provide a system wherein kids can Zoom learn for free with everyone, with all their teachers, not just one. Mobilize it nationally. You don't just send them back.
And there's no substitute for in-classroom learning.
Hear that, homeschoolers? You religious right evangelical assholes? Pence just called you stupid. He just said that there's no substitute. Homeschooling, according to Mike Pence, is bullshit. I'm going to guess that their base isn't on board with that idea.
In-person learning, and that's been much discussed at this.
It's always in-person learning, because if you learn, you're definitely there. By the way, what's the case control in the scientific experiment with homeschool computer learning since 1985? Because what are you saying, that like homeschooling now is the same as it was in 92 before the internet, or 1975? Or are you saying that everyone in the industrial age, before public schools were readily available to everyone, were uneducated morons? This is goofy.
Summit today. But as the American Academy of Pediatrics, so well represented here today, recently reflected, there are social costs, emotional costs, and even physical costs to our children across this country that we spoke with the governors today. It's important that we reopen our schools, as you've directed for the...
Then establish boarding schools where kids can go and stay there during the week, sleep there like camp, go to school every day, eat there, sleep there, see their parents on the weekends after a COVID test until they're, I mean, like, that's where boarding schools came from. They were almost a direct relation to the bubonic plague.
Academic and the intellectual development of our children, but it's also vitally important that we remember as...
I'm sending my son to Hogwarts.
Dr. McCants-Katz told the governors today that 7 million American children suffer from either mental illness or emotional disturbance, and they principally receive the care from health and mental services at their school.
Yeah, that they have. You're talking about kids who have counselors at school. Then set up situations where kids can see their counselor off campus. You don't park a bunch of other kids in a high contagion zone to carry a disease home asymptomatically because you don't want to set up private counselor sessions with kids who need them from school. What?
And so making sure that we're meeting the mental and emotional needs of our children, as well as making advances academically, is what brings us here today.
Oh, that's what brings you here today. Not shoveling kids back in school so people can go back to work, so that you can drop the unemployment rate artificially below 8% right before the election, so that you can pat yourselves on the back that you created 3% worth of jobs.
Last thing I'll say to all those gathered here, Mr. President, is from early on you have directed our task force and the CDC to equip families and schools and states with the resources to operate. It was as early as March 12th that CDC issued its first guidance for strategies for school and child care services. We issued decision trees in the middle of May, and just...
Did you guys hear that? March 12th, the CDC puts forward guidelines. They issued decision trees in the middle of May. Aw, decision trees. That's their managerial style. Decision trees. Mr. President, I've just come from the Pentagon. We have a decision tree.
Last week.
Great. Does it have ornaments on it or fruit? I don't eat fruit. Do you have is it a Twinkie tree? That's my favorite.
I'm pleased to report the CDC published new guidance for K-12 schools and higher education regarding the type of testing that is appropriate and other strategies. Mr. President, we can bring our schools back. And next week, the CDC is going to issue 5 new documents how to prepare communities to return safely, decision-making tools for parents and caregivers, symptom screening, cloth face coverings in school settings, guidance, and the rest. We're going to.
You mean the stuff Fauci's been talking about that you've been blowing off?
Continue to flow these resources in this.
It is not. Cheers, Jason. Be well. No, it is not a giving tree. It is already given.
Guidance, but as Dr. Redfield,
the giving tree giveth, but does not taketh away.
Told all the nation's governors today. And I want to acknowledge Governor Parsons' leadership and his presence here today. We're truly grateful. Is that what you've instructed
as part of a thing we're calling the Alan Parsons Project.
Our task force to do and the CDC to do in this moment.
To grab the asteroid Midas 22.
Is to say to states around the country and to local communities,
preparations A through G were a complete failure, but we are happy we have finally created a working tractor beam that we will call Preparation H.
Moon River. To help. The CDC has issued guidance, but that guidance is meant to supplement and not replace state, local, territorial, or tribal guidance.
Yeah, it is. It's supposed to be a standardized, nationwide piece of advice. This is not FEMA telling people in Montana to put up plywood for hurricane season. It's a contagious disease that affects everybody evenly. Of course the CDC guidance applies evenly across the whole goddamn country, you moron.
In a word,
this is you could take it or leave it. Hey, Herman. Schön zu sehen.
Mr. President, you've made it clear to us, we don't want to be the reason any school doesn't reopen.
The virus is the reason schools aren't going to reopen.
And so
you're the assholes who want to force them to open. This is the same bullshit about the statues. Like everybody starts talking about taking down Confederate statues, so they go hide behind George Washington's statue and stand at the bottom of Mount Rushmore and go, they want to take down all these good people, and piss off.
Our word to the parents that are looking on, to teachers.
Am I looking on? Are we all looking on?
That are looking on, administrators, leaders in your community, is that we are ready to work with
against the states,
the leaders in your school system and in your state to find a safe and responsible way to reopen your schools. That's our commitment.
All right, let's hear it.
Commitment.
What's the standards?
Mr. President, we're continuing to move out on that.
What's the decision tree look like? What's on the bottom limbs? What's the trunk look like? What's the trunk of the decision tree? Opening is our primary goal, but feathering off the sides, we have things like social distancing, targeted learning, alternating classroom sizes, lunch in the parking lot, recess at home. Oh my God, the tree is on fire.
On the belief that to open up America again, we've got to open up America's schools, and the American people are taking important.
Pence cannot decide whether he wants to be Reagan or Bush, so he just kind of snaps the two together. Hi, Jill.
Steps every day, including this summit today, to do just that. And I'm.
Oh, it's a summit. Shit. Is somebody from the teachers union going to slam their shoe on the counter?
Truly grateful for all of those represented here for being a part of this important work. With that, I'd be happy to recognize Mrs. Pence for a few comments.
Well, I'm glad you can recognize her. You've been married to her for 35 years. I'd be happy to recognize her. Is that her?
Thank you, Mr. President.
We'd like to start with school is one of the areas where kids get the most bullying for being gay, and we think that without that bullying, there will be more gay kids. So it's very important this fall.
Thank you, Mike, and Melania. I had the privilege of addressing this group earlier today and kind of opening up your summit. But I do want to say thank you to all the teachers.
She is not wearing orange, although she is wearing green.
I know at my school, everybody quickly learned how to do online teaching. It wasn't something that our teachers across America were familiar with, and I just applaud them. They have worked so hard. And the parents really are the unsung heroes. They really had to quickly get up to speed. And
My kid does language arts, social studies, math, science, and then he does and the math thing he does is Prodigy, and then he does Chinese as a language elective every day. You're welcome.
It was not easy to do.
No, it's not. But you do it. You know why? Because you know what's harder than that? Having your kid go to school, bring home a contagion that kills their stepbrother or a relative of a friend because we all catch something asymptomatically and pass it on. That's harder than homeschooling.
But you know, our kids are struggling. And
TMI, I thought the Pence kids were all grown up.
they need their friends.
Absolutely, Marcus.
And they need their teachers.
I'm kidding. I agree.
And they need their routines. This decision to open up the school.
Thank you, Cassie. People are so deluded. Thank goodness for your wise words to us. I try. We manage.
Impact.
By the way, here's how you open schools safely in the fall. Okay? You guys ready for this? Okay. Staggered school days. Groups of kids are at school at different times instead of intermingling, age range wise. The parents themselves get swabbed and tested if they're going to drop them off and pick them up. The kids themselves get tested regularly, and if there's a hot spot, everybody goes back to even just contagion, not deaths, not hospitalizations. If it spreads in contagion, you shut the school down, everybody learns from home for 3 weeks. Then you start trickling back. It's a small-scale version of how you open the rest of society, but you look at it as an isolated space. You clean the shit out of it. Little kids are not going to keep social distancing. So you have to understand that, age range groups, you keep all the kids together, just like you do in their classes, 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, 8th grade, what have you. Everybody stays in that same realm. Any family with multi-generational kids in the same school system have to get regular testing and isolate themselves the rest of the time. If anybody gets sick or shows up positive, that entire grade goes home. So the 5th grade, if you can keep coming to school if 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th are okay, but if there's 5th grade cases, all the 5th graders go home. And any relatives of the kids that are in 5th grade, they have to take off 2 weeks as well. And each school coordinates that. It's a good start, and it's just off the top of my head.
Our children. It impacts them academically, it impacts them socially, and it impacts them emotionally. So I applaud what you're doing.
I will look, Marcus.
Here today, Mr. President, because our kids, for their mental.
Why? Why are you? I mean, I understand him going. I appreciate you championing this issue. That's a good idea. But I appreciate you being here today. Why? You should be here today. Why should we all go, thank you for showing up? Why do you get a round of applause for the baseline level of your job? Why, in a situation like this, what kind of an asshole doesn't have a working group on how to open schools again safely? Am I losing my mind here? Can someone check me on this?
Mental health and their academic health, they need to be back in school. So thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Karen. I appreciate it. And I see Dr. Redfield over in the...
Dr. Redfield.
And I appreciate it. And I know you'd like to see everybody coming back and getting back to school in the fall. And I've read everything you've written, and I appreciate that very much, Doctor.
I've read everything you've written. And I appreciate that, really. How did you get my papers?
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you for...
Governor, please.
I've read everything you've written, and that's it. Both Post-it notes, I got them down. What? I thought he was going to like single him out and have him say something. Thank you for being part of our working group. I've read everything you've read. No need for you to speak.
Maybe we'll go around the room real quickly. We'll go quickly and we'll get everybody.
That's a great idea. Just quickly. Just get it over quickly, and then I can go take a potty and Twitter break.
Just say a few words, and we'll start with our governor.
Thank you, Mr. President.
We'll start with our governor. Wait, first of all, our governor?
You said when you come here, I'm just honored and humbled to be here.
Mike Parsons is. Let me tell you, as somebody who just fell out of an old Disney cartoon as one of the villainous members of an evil pelican.
With you, the Vice President, the First Lady, and the Second Lady. Those dreams you think about someday, never imagine them being reality, but here we are. And
here we are, and this is a dream of mine. It's always been a dream of mine to be called to the White House in a situation where we've got 133,000 Americans dead and hospitalizations on the rise and collapsing health infrastructure, and Americans denied the ability to travel to Europe because they're afraid that they'll contagiously bring them in at 11% unemployment. And of course, the fact that you allowed the Russians to put bounties on the heads of American soldiers. It's really a dream come true to be here, around this. And please ignore the scientists. Let me talk.
So it's an honor to be here today. Let me first start off by breaking into song. Let the eagle soar. Just saying thanks to the President, the Vice President, for what they've done over the last, since they've been in office, to say the least. But over
to say the very least.
Last 17.
Thank you for just being you.
18 weeks. They've been on the phone every week. The President himself has been. And I don't mean for 5 minutes to say hello, governors, and see you later. In-depth conversation with governors across this state. The Vice President has been.
Governors across this state. First of all, he's the governor of America. Now he's saying that Trump has been in direct contact with governors across this state. And people think because Biden was in Vermont and they drove across the border into Connecticut, he was like, "Hey, Vermont," and they're like, "No, you're in Connecticut now." He's like, "Oh shit, right, we're on. Where are we right now? This is ridiculous." Yeah, Biden's got a tour problem moment that bands have all the time. By the way, bands, always write the name of the city on your set list right below your monitor amp, no matter where you are. It's just it's good form.
There for almost 17 to 18 weeks. I know that I've been following with them. And the one thing they've stressed every day in those phone calls, every week, they're trying to do the best thing for this country. And for.
Okay. Yeah, the problem is their definition of what's best for this country. Shrugging off a disease and being cool with 250,000 deaths by the election and 11% unemployment as like setting records is not what's really best for the country.
Everyday people out there, and they were trying to make their full support to the governors across this state.
Well, what are they gonna say on the phone? "We hope you die." And meanwhile, that wasn't true at all. He was threatening Whitmer that if she talked shit about him or wasn't like kissing his ass, she'd be denied funds and PPE.
And I just want to thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
For
yeah, apparently.
Leading as what good leaders do in times of crisis.
That's mean, though, saying that right to his face.
And I just want to thank you for that. When the president said he was going to put a little pressure on governors to open these schools up, I will tell you this, on a few phone calls I've had with him, he can put a little pressure on you if he decides to do that. I will say that on that. So
he had me by the shirt collar, and he was saying, "If this is a consularship, where is the ambassador?" And I tell you, I blacked out, and he slammed me against the hull of the ship.
Sometimes
told him to tear this ship apart and find those plans.
We all need a little push to get things
Thanks,
going.
James.
What the First Lady said when she talked about the kids was so
Yes, this is definitely Ed Helms without makeup.
important to me as a grandparent, as a father. I sit there and I think of all the kids that need to be in school.
Mm-hmm. All the kids I don't want to see in person.
There's the ones that
Get these kids out of here.
have the privilege of going every day. That's almost common that we go to school for most of the school kids, but a lot of school kids, it's a safety blanket. It's a way to get nutrition. It's a way to get counseling. It's a way for somebody to...
That's it. Like, this isn't a podcast, Chris. It didn't fall into anything. Get out of the chat room if you don't like it. Piss off.
Help them when they cry out for help. And that's also why getting schools back open is so important. And then if you want to take that one step further.
Do I?
It's about making sure people are going to be qualified for the workforce of tomorrow. This virus can...
Wait, get the workforce of tomorrow? We are going to trade people to manage all their... getting some masks on. And we're doing the hard work, training people for the jobs they're not going to have.
Not shut our country down or our states down.
We cannot shut it down when we need to open it up.
We have to deal with it as we would anything else that we've dealt with in this country, and we have to move forward. And economy and life goes on, and education is part of who we are, and kids need to get back in school. Parents need
Do they now?
to get more involved in their schools and be back involved in their schools. As I heard speakers today...
You know what? I hear this all the time from Republicans. Can I just address this bullshit for 1 second? Every time we talk about budgets for schools and how every kid should be guaranteed an equal quality of education in this country by lifting up the bad schools, not tearing down the good schools. Nobody wants that. We want to raise the quality of schools that are hurting, right? Make sure they have all the resources that they need. Every time you do this, Republicans especially, and assholes like this, come out and go, well, you know, we need parents more involved. Parents need to get involved. Right? A, that's true. But B, that's not your job. You can't legislate parental involvement. There is no point in the law. There is no point where you can mandate legally, if you don't show up for PTA meetings, we're going to throw you in jail. It's absurd. If you don't help your kids with their homework, if you don't encourage their teaching, if you don't become, involved in after-school activities, we're going to fine you $100. Like, none of that exists. That's nonsense. So why, if that's not your job and it's completely outside the purview of anything you can do with education, would you bring it up? Why? It's the stupidest thing. They do it all the time. You can't make parents be involved with kids. You cannot, in a case where a kid has one parent because the other parent died, assign a mom or a dad to that family to take up the slack. It's ridiculous. So here's the thing. If you're going to talk about things that need to be improved in schools, stick to the shit you can do. I don't want to hear about parent involvement because you can't do anything about it. You can do something about the quality of the buildings themselves. You can do something about the quality of the educational materials and the supplies that are available. You can do something about the nutritional requirements of the food involved. You can do something about the music and foreign language and extracurricular activities that improve kids' lives. You can do all that shit. You can't make a parent care. So stop bringing it up.
It's part of who we are. It's how we build a future, and I think that's so important.
I believe the children are our future.
I also want to thank the Second Lady for giving me
oh my God, can we
a little inspiration on a couple of key bills we signed in Missouri, and I want to give you a little credit today. We did full reciprocity in the state of Missouri yesterday. I signed that bill, and full military reciprocity, and the Second Lady kind of gave me a little inspiration for that. And also my daughter's a school teacher to do that. Most of the time we have a father.
Always check your notes to see what your kids do.
Daughter relationship, except when it comes to teaching, and she becomes a senior advisor to the governor when we talk about those issues on that. But again, I just want to thank the president for his
Well, you've done that. Are you going to start back at the top of your list?
support for our state. People appreciate it, Mr. President.
Thanks, Holliberry.
You know that, for the First Lady, and for where we're headed in this country, because we've went through hard times before, and we'll continue to get through hard times, and we'll be better off for it, and we'll be stronger than ever, so thank you.
And you won't be changing the name St. Louis, will you?
No, we will not be doing.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Wait, did St. Louis fuck up? You're not going to change St. Louis because of something that a Catholic saint did.
Important. Thank you.
What? You're not going to be changing the name of St. Louis?
Thank you very much. Please.
Thank you, please. Please don't stare too much at the weird blotchy part of my cheek right here where it looks like somebody rubbed something off, or I've got a ringworm and it's not.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. I'm delighted to join you, the First Lady, the Vice President, and the Second Lady here today to talk about why it's important for children to be in school. My name is Dr. Sally Goza. I'm a pediatrician from Georgia. I'm president of the American
Hello, Dr. Sally. The snow-peaked mountains of Dr. Sally
Academy of Pediatrics. Children get much more than an education at school. Being away
Yes, this is true. Sometimes they get black eyes.
from peers, teachers, and school services has lasting effects for
I got hickeys.
children.
What? High school. I didn't. Well, did I get any in middle school? Might have gotten one. I did grow up in the South, after all.
Although this will not be easy, pediatricians strongly advocate that we start with the goal of having students physically present in school this fall.
Are we not doing roots anymore? We're not doing our roots. We're just letting them. Or we just decided to transition out of it without removing.
Of course, returning to school must be done safely. We must take measures to keep students, teachers, and staff safe and with flexibility to adapt as needed to the community's prevalence of COVID-19.
Yeah, I know. I already brought that up. Like how?
The evidence we have so far indicates that children are less likely to have symptoms or severe disease resulting from coronavirus.
Right, but they carry it.
Children are less likely to become infected, and they are less likely to spread infection.
No, that's not true. You are not testing children, so you have no idea what the infection rate for them is. That is bullshit. She's making that up.
We know, however, that missing school can have serious consequences for child health and well-being, particularly for students with disabilities or with special health care needs. Students who are in school learn more than reading, writing, and arithmetic. They also learn social and emotional skills, get healthy meals and exercise.
And they also learn that, if there's a chance you could kill grandma by coughing on her after some snot in your class carries a disease there, that would be bad. What class would that be in? Social studies?
Mental health support. Schools help identify and address learning deficits, physical abuse, substance use, depression, and suicidal ideation.
Oh, so school is basically just a wing of policing for the general public. So you basically look at the little kids are just running around like thermometers, just seeing who's carrying the worst criminal behavior at home.
These are all critical reasons to get children back to school.
Uh-huh.
Reopening schools in a way that maximizes safety, learning, and the well-being of children will clearly require new investments in our schools. We urge you to ensure that schools receive the resources necessary so that funding does not stand in the way of keeping our children safe or present at school. Thank you, Mr. President. We look forward to working with you and all the people around this room.
Thank you for thanking me.
Thank you very much. Please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Penny Schwinn from the great state of Tennessee. Appreciate the invitation on behalf.
Wait, so we got Missouri, we got Tennessee, we got Georgia.
Of our superintendent.
Is Melania the only person there who's not from a southern state that isn't the vice president?
Districts, our families, our teachers, and our public officials. Opening up Tennessee, we know that reopening schools reopens our economy. We've got great.
That's the whole point.
Examples of where superintendents have come together and thought through scheduling to make sure that parents can get back to work for companies who support multiple regions. We've done an incredible job with resources, 20-plus toolkits. We've opened up free professional development for teachers and principals for free statewide and online tools. And I'd also like to just thank the First Lady for...
No, she put her mask back on after she got done talking. Why is she so un-American? Why does she not believe? Oh, for 666 Pizza LG Treason with extra corruption. Thank you so much. Yeah, at any time, if you guys want to contribute to the show, you can always super chat us. PayPal.me/HalSparks is a great way to do it if you don't want to, anybody to take a cut, as it were, or become a Patreon supporter. We've got over 280 now. We're still looking for 500 total. We're growing all the time. I just posted on the Patreon the show from Friday night at Flappers for anybody who missed it. Anybody who was a Patreon get to come for free with a little comp thing. And live, when I do shows, you guys get to come and bring a guest for free. So that's cool. But in the meantime, we're looking for 500 of those. It just helps. But also, we're always trying to raise $6.66 or any derivation thereof to help us buy 666 Fifth Avenue. It's a dream. I'm going to open it up and give like UNICEF free office space and basically take 666 Fifth Avenue from Jared Kushner and turn it into a charity building just to make them nuts. And I know, Hal, there's no way you could afford to buy 666 Fifth Avenue. Say that 10 times fast. I know that, and you know that, but it never stopped Jared Kushner. He didn't have the money either.
For support on child well-being. We had a wonderful conversation a couple of weeks ago on the task force that we've launched statewide, covering the entire state and making sure that all of our children receive a high-quality public education, as well as being served in terms of nutrition, transportation, et cetera. And I'll just end by saying, as the proud daughter of a police officer and a teacher, I was raised with safety and high-quality education being two fundamentals in my home. And it's a great honor to be able to reinforce that with the schools in Tennessee today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Great. Thank you.
She had a ponytail and she decided to drop it.
Well, thank you, Mr. President.
Oh, God. Thank you, Mr. President, for giving me the honor of running the task force, the coronavirus task force, in January, and then taking it away in March after I'd fucked it into a cocked hat. Thanks, Scooter.
Really, thanks to the...
no, thank you.
Historic response.
I'd like to thank everyone who voted me most likely to play a bank manager on the Beverly Hillbillies.
That the president has led to this unprecedented pandemic. We have the...
Unprecedented. It's not my job, the governor's job. Plus, we have a governor for all the states. Haven't you just met him? He's from Missouri.
Schools where we can reopen our workplace. We can reopen our schools and...
Whoops. See, yeah, you're supposed to say schools first and then workplace so people don't recognize that your priority is really just economic before the election. And you don't give a shit who dies. Thanks, Lipschitz.
Can reopen healthcare. We've got the tools.
We've got the talent. It's Miller time.
When we think about kids and schools, the school for our children is a center of so much of their life. It is where they get health care. It is where they get mental health care. It is where...
What? They don't get health care at school? That's not what we think of when we think of school. Some kids... Look, okay. I grew up in Peeks Mill, Kentucky, okay? I went to Peeks Mill Elementary School, then I went to Elkhorn Middle School, and then I went to 1 year Franklin County High, and then I moved to Chicago and went to New Trier High School, okay? That's my public school education history. At no point during that process, even though there was a school nurse that treated me for a cut that probably should have had stitches, and any number of fight-related loose teeth and busted lips, some I doled out, some I received. That's life. At no point did my parents go, this is just sort of a hospital with books. Thank you, Holliberry.
Nutrition. It is where mandatory reporting.
Parsons, she says, turn the power back on, you dork.
Child abuse and sexual abuse happens most often because of the nature of mandatory reporting requirements.
What? We need to get kids back to school because sexual assault is going unreported during COVID? We need We need to rush back to school in the fall and chance children bringing home a contagion to their houses and murdering their relatives by accident and living with the scars of that their entire life because you think there is a rampant sexual assault underpinning of society that goes unreported without public schools. Tell Republicans that.
In addition,
I do shows near NOLA, and I've done shows in New Orleans for the Humane Society a couple of times. Next time I do it, and we have them, and there will be live shows again, people, lots of them. And next time, don't take them for so goddamn granted. That's my message to you. After all this bullshit in the last 18 to 20 weeks we've been going through this stuff, next time your favorite band or comedian comes to town, go see him twice.
To the social, physical, intellectual development that the kids need from a physical setting in schools.
Yeah, Trump went to physical schools and it didn't help him any. He paid somebody to do his SATs for him, and he had a medal on his jacket for bowling.
We're in a very different place now than we were 2 or 3 months ago. We have the world's most robust testing system with close to 40 million tests having been done. We have health system
having been done. Everyone who got those, with the exception of the people who tested positive and have lived through it or died, need to be tested again and again and again to trap and trace this disease.
Capacity and personal protective equipment to enable us to work.
Absolutely, Tracy. I know I will be as local as I possibly can be after all this.
Through these outbreaks that we've got. We're advancing on therapeutics, as the president said. We now have remdesivir for hospitalized patients, steroids for lung illness.
No, you don't. You have dexamethasone. You don't have steroids, you dickhead.
We have convalescent plasma to treat individuals. And just this morning, the president...
We don't have that. That is a therapeutic that people have used for all kinds of contagious disease in the past. It's not a new idea. But there's not shit tons of it rolling around. It's still hard to come by. Remdesivir is very expensive. Dexamethasone is probably your best bet, and that's an immune system suppressor. It's still bad that you have to take it. Half these assholes have organ failure, even if they survive.
Made a major $500 million...
Shrug it off. Just get a shot.
Investment in a monoclonal antibody.
Anyone who wants a test can wait in line and not get a test.
That will be a treatment that could, if successful and if approved, could deliver hundreds of thousands of doses as early.
Yeah, and if an asteroid made of ice cream that has the cure inside it hits the fucking planet, it'll be awesome. Why are you operating on ifs, dickhead? Your job is actually to work on if not. Yes, this is Alex Azar. Alex Azar was in charge of the pandemic task force in January, and they screwed up so bad that they put Pence in charge in March.
3 vaccine candidates, and just this morning invested $1.6 billion in a 4th vaccine candidate that could deliver hundreds of millions of doses this fall and into early.
Or might not. It's an untested vaccine. It could also have other complications. Don't get out over your skis, asshole. Every other country on the globe is working on a vaccine for this.
Next year.
Remdesivir and dexamethasone weren't even discoveries made in the United States. Remdesivir is a drug that's made in the United States, created by taxpayers, which we're paying through the nose for. But its efficacy with this disease was discovered in South Korea.
Just a very different circumstance than we ever had before. We know more about this virus, the fatality rate.
Geez, it's amazing how much we've learned about this virus since it was, I don't know, a novel coronavirus that showed up in October of last year. And you ignored until the end of January, and then asshat went golfing.
Is going down because we're better at taking care of patients with the virus. Our fatality case rate...
hydroxychloroquine does not work. It works early on, but then so does nothing. It matches the people. The people who take hydroxychloroquine oftentimes are people who never would have needed hospitalization. They are and the people it does affect, it kills. It's unnecessary. It's like saying pudding helps because we gave it to a bunch of people early on who didn't need to go to the hospital, who weren't having trouble breathing.
The United States is
remdesivir
among the lowest, if not the lowest, in the developed world right now. And we can reopen our schools.
Is among the lowest. What a great standard. Out of 189 countries, who knew there were this many countries?
Safely with what we know. And it's really simple practices of common sense. It's social.
No, it isn't. These are children.
Distancing. It's wearing.
Adults will do that. Kids aren't going to social distance. What kind of social distancing is this?
Face coverings when you're in a setting that you can't social distance, and it's practicing good personal hygiene. The tools are there.
I'm sending my kid to school dressed as the Mandalorian with a ionized ventilator attached to the mask. I mean, that's the. Am I wrong? Is that the only way to do it?
To bring our kids back safely, to protect our teachers and our staff, and it's time to do it now.
No, it isn't time to do it now. First of all, school doesn't start until end of August. Secondly, you don't even know where it's going to have outbreaks. Time to do it now.
Thank you, Alex.
The time to plan for it was 2 years ago when you scuttled the pandemic response team.
Good luck with all of the therapeutics. I know you're getting very close. Very close.
Very close. So close. Are there any flipper babies? There are a few flipper babies, but...
That would be incredible. What are your chances early, like in September?
So Regeneron, which is the one that we funded at almost $500 million this morning, they
dumped $500 million on Regeneron. Hi, I'm Regeneron.
One of the most advanced. We have several very advanced monoclonal antibody products. This basically takes that convalescent plasma that recovered patients would donate and bioengineers that in effectively unlimited supply that we can do. And so it's a cocktail of multiple antibodies that give your immune system an immediate defense. And we're studying it both for preventing disease as well as stopping the progression of the disease.
Great. So everybody you'll get your government anti-vaccine milkshake that will have convalescent plasma, remdesivir, and dexamethasone in a sippy cup. And you'll just do that every day before you go to work, go to work, go to work, go to work. Please, here's the thing. Again, all these things, I hope they work. Knock yourself out. I really do. But try to convince the QAnon Trumpsters out there to use this shit. They're not going to be, like, liberals aren't going to be the problem when you get around to, like, hey, we have a vaccine, it might actually work. They're not going to be the ones running around not taking the cure and the therapeutics and the vaccine.
It's really
and
very
that seems
exciting.
To be just working. It's basically, it's sort of the...
Biden has severe dementia. My ass. Have you, like... There's a huge difference between saying the wrong word and not knowing what the words mean. But, you know, enough about Trump. Shall we? Shall we deliver a little bit of, like...
And, you know, when you say per capita, there's many per capitas. It's like per capita relative to what? You'll have nobody guarding your potatoes. We're honored to have with us today our amazing Vice President, Mike Pence, and his wonderful wife, Karen. Once it was reluctantly aroused. It was hard to get it aroused, and it is hard to get it aroused, but we got it aroused.
Yeah, tell me about how Trump is sharp as a tack.
Sees of what we're doing, it seems to be working. Do you have tests right now that say it does work?
Well,
do you have tests right now that say it does work? Can I start lying about this immediately?
The initial trial work that Regeneron did, and that's why we're investing in the late stage development of it. But then we have these other 3 therapies that, thanks to your leadership, we have so
your
many...
leadership? Remdesivir? They figured that out in South Korea. Dexamethasone, they discovered in the UK. The National Health Service covered that.
Tools than we had 3 months ago in terms of therapeutics. So we don't want anyone to get sick.
but we have much better ways to take care of individuals now than we did 3 months ago.
And that's
As you would expect.
exciting, very exciting. All right.
But you still don't know why some people die or spend more time in the hospital ultimately. And they still, like, there have been 7 lung transplants due to this disease because people's lungs were so badly destroyed by it that they needed brand new lungs. Not everybody's going to get that. Rob Glenn, this guy is a Trump whisperer. He has the perfect tone for making Trump feel everything is good because of Trump. Well, yeah, Rob, that's that's why he's hung around as long as he has.
We'll hold you to it September.
If it's not here by September, I'm going to blame you.
You too, Doctor. You too, Doctor.
You do, Doctor. The both of you are going to be in such trouble if this stuff doesn't work.
Please, thank you.
Good afternoon.
Is that the pressure they were talking
Mr.
about?
President, I'm Patrick Daly, the principal of St. Vincent de Paul High School in Petaluma, California. We're in Sonoma County. I just want to tell you what an honor this is to be here this afternoon. I want to thank you, thank the First Lady, Vice President Pence, and Second Lady for your leadership of our country. Really, during a very difficult time, for the First Lady's love and protection of children, very important to me. And being a father of 4 kids, three daughters and a son, it is very important. We plan on opening April 10th. That is our focus. I think that we have put a plan together that is a working document with all the safety precautions and policies in place to ensure that St. Vincent de Paul opens, following all the guidelines that are
April 10th?
Recommended. I think that, as you stated earlier,
you mean August 10th?
This should never be political, and I think at times it has become very political in many schools.
Yeah, because a lot of places are like, we have too many cases, kids can spread the disease, teachers can die, parents can die, grandparents can die, people at stores in the area can catch it from kids going back to
systems throughout our United States. And I think
yes, Holliberry.
Probably particularly in California.
You're going to have to clone yourself for organs, absolutely.
So we were very excited about the possibilities of the fall, and we have 3 plans. One would be the reopening, which we plan August 10th, and then...
Yeah, okay, August 10th. He said April 10th. I'm like, next year?
A hybrid plan, which is 2 days on, 1 day off, 2 days back in. And then, as I mentioned earlier, God forbid, if we had to go back to the distance learning, I just don't think it's beneficial to boys and girls 14 to 18 years of age.
Because no one needs a principal if all the teachers are working from home.
And particularly, I really feel for the...
He did say April 10th.
Parents
initially.
Of elementary...
He meant August. That's not...
School children who are trying to work and provide for their families, and at the same time having to stay at home and teach. It's very difficult, and I hear that a lot from our own elementary school. But I
hear it's very hard to teach kids. I hear that from our own teachers. Thank you, Persian chick. I am trying my darndest to bring a little bit of sanity and perspective.
Thank you enough for your leadership of our country, and thank you for this honor.
Thank you.
Good luck
thank you.
with
Thank
your
you.
plan.
And thank you for letting me thank you about thanking
Getting them open, and hopefully you could do 5 days instead of the 2 and back and forth. I know you want to be able to do that, so you'll...
Yeah, and hopefully we find a way like techniques like the Matrix where we can just stick a spike in the back of the kid's head with a data pipe on it, and they can just learn Kung Fu sitting there, how to fly a helicopter. I hope so. That'd be awesome technology. And?
Thank you very much. Great job. Please,
Hello,
good looking person this is, huh?
That's a weird hello. Your education system at work, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just kidding. They're messing with him.
There we go. Hello, Mr. President. I'm a student at St. Vincent de Paul High School. My name's Cameron Vaughn. And I personally just want to thank you for both inviting me and helping to reopen schools. Coming on behalf of the students.
All right, I'm not going to... I know I'm going to be... oh, my God. Really? We followed... Look who they followed this kid up with. What the hell? By the way, kid, if this kid's a Trump supporter or whatever, no problems. Like, kids can be kids. I don't have any issue with this. But for Pete's sake...
Soon. Thank you. Kellyanne, please.
Mr. President, Mrs. Trump, Mr. Vice President, Mrs. Pence, thank you very much.
Why are you speaking at a working group on getting schools
To
open?
Cameron Vaughn, and I'm reminded why we're here in this room today on this very important topic, but why we're here in this administration. I believe a
Did you have to be reminded? Isn't it on your schedule?
hallmark of the Trump-Pence administration has
She's on her planet. They have a more helium in the atmosphere, and that's why her voice is the way it is. And also, yellow sun radiation has a negative effect on her skeletal structure. But other than that, she's fine. Thank you, Fexican Kringle.
been the success in looking out for and expanding opportunities, safety, and well-being for the forgotten child. And the forgotten
Oh crap! Did somebody forget a kid? Did his parents, were they supposed to pick him up?
child took on a new meaning during this global pandemic. Between the first and third weeks of March of this year, just about 100% of our school children across this country, of all ages, were taken out of their schools and stuck at home.
Yeah, the ones who weren't were already homeschooled.
We saw a few things happen, many of which have been spoken about today, but I'll add one more. The digital divide was laid bare in that so many of our students could not access basic digital assets to allow them to confidently and competently complete their schoolwork and to learn and to thrive. The schools are our central nervous system because our students are the heart and soul of our nation. And so today your message is, Mr. President, Mr. Vice
Schools are the nervous system. Did you not take biology in high school?
President, that all children matter. And our mission is to make sure that all children can safely and securely re-enter their places of learning very soon.
But quickly, and 5 days, and get them back in there. Quickly, turn those machines back on. Tell them to sell.
This has also impacted our economy, and I have a soft spot for single moms, having been raised by one, and our single moms have been disproportionately impacted through their job security, their wage earning, and most of them are not in jobs that for which they can telecommute. So we're creating pandemics within this pandemic.
Pandemics within this pandemic. She likes that. Look at her smiling. She thinks she said something there. We've created our own pandemic within the pandemic. No, this is the effects of having a pandemic in a society. The economy is not, it's like an isolated self. It involves the humans who exist in it. Humans are not widgets that have a responsibility to show up and fuel your economy. And if the economy can't absorb, or the state can't absorb, those folks staying home for a time, then that's a problem with the system as it exists. Or just shit happens. Life happens. You can't remove all these, like, why don't we, we recognize there's actually a hurricane right outside, but we need people, especially window washers, to get out there and start working. We can't have all these people, just because the tornado blew the roof off of every building downtown is no excuse for you to not show up and start selling. People need a place to buy toilet paper without much of a drive.
The good news is...
Oh, this is the good news. And I look to Kellyanne Conway for my good news. She's just a ray of hope.
that our children are at low risk for transmission, even as they are at high risk for maladies visible and invisible.
Why is that good news? What? They're low risk for transmission. No, they're low risk for dying from it. They can still carry it asymptomatically and spread it. But why is it also part of your good news that they have invisible things happening to them? I'm guessing we're talking about abuse again?
Great news is that as we safely reopen our schools, we are in keeping with so much of your agenda, Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, Mrs. Trump, and Mrs. Pence, which is to preserve and expand educational opportunities, to respect the dignity of all students, but to respond to the individual needs of all of those students by expanding school choice and charters and educational freedom.
Really? That's what we're doing? That's what we needed to handle. It's not that we have a contagion spreading across the country that a bunch of governors like the guy from Missouri are ignoring and having problems with and is killing people, and magically they're like, Jesus. It's destroying the nervous systems of a lot of the people that get it, or causing ischemic strokes in people who are asymptomatic. That's not the concern point. The concern point is that we need more charter schools.
And opportunity scholarships, allowing them to have more options.
Opportunity scholarships. So can you have a scholarship to be immune to carrying a disease?
As they go through their lives, beginning with the...
Mom, I wrote an essay question. They gave me an essay question, and COVID said that I showed great promise, but I'm not going to make it this year, so I've developed a cough.
Quality and solid education. The president has said, if we as a nation can win 2 world wars, dig out the Panama Canal, put a man on the moon, we certainly ought to be able to deliver a quality education to each child, and that begins with reopening.
Yeah, none of those things are contagious, if that's what you mean. Nobody was, oh my God, why can't Charlie come to school? Well, he's in quarantine. He caught Panama Canal syndrome.
Our schools and making good on that promise to each and every one of them. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Kellyanne.
I don't know what that was, but I like the hair flip at the end. Top that, bitch.
Hi, Mr. President. I'm Jenny Beth Martin with Tea Party.
Fine, Jenny. Hi, Jenny.
Patriots.
With Tea Party Patriots. And she, look at Kelly. Oh, I've been one-upped. I'm glad I tucked my shoulder sleeves today. What is that look? What is this? Got a little, I'm just doing a little shoulder tuck. That's the thing. If I can't have no, if we're not going full Kayleigh McEnany, right?
Thank you, and thank you, Mrs. Trump and Mr. Vice President and Mrs. Pence for
not letting me lunch with Mr. Pence, with Vice President Pence, without a male spotter present. Because I would just, I would kiss his mouth to just taste Trump's neck.
having me here today. While I am with Tea Party Patriots, I'm also a mom, and my children are
Citation needed.
sitting right over there. So thank
Oh, you brought them here. Great. So they could get free COVID tests.
you for
Smart.
having us here today.
Are they behaving themselves? Why are they sitting way over there?
Mr. President, you are right, and I hope you will trust your instincts. America is not meant to be shut down, and we have to reopen schools this fall.
Where we go one, we go to school.
I've been in touch with almost 1,000 doctors from around the country.
And they call bullshit on this whole thing.
I helped Dr. Simone Gold spearhead a letter to you signed by 800
Simone Gold
physicians and surgeons who talked about the side effects of the lockdowns. I've done a second letter with over 100
side effects of the lockdown. In comparison to
50 doctors, 240 nurses, 330
Yeah, look, I know. We're all staring at Kellyanne Conway going, don't you make a move on my man.
educators, 70 national groups.
Oh, no. Marcus, there's no way she's wearing a mask. Coming or going. This woman's I guarantee she's 100% Q. She's going to tell all her Q supporters that she got special codes from the president because of how many, because his fly was down. And actually have a plan in place and actually be able to track and trace the disease first. But I'm glad my voice is finally being heard as a concerned American. Please go ahead, sassy librarian.
Reopening schools is going to stabilize our society.
That's what it is. That's what all these riots are about. It's not about George Floyd. It's all these kids ditching class.
I think it's the number.
Thanks, Templeton. Oh, Captain, my captain, protect us from this one-sided arrogance. It's madness.
One most important thing we can do to stabilize.
Okay, what is it? Here it is. The number one most important thing we can do to stabilize our society.
Stabilize our society from top to bottom.
Top to, ooh, look out. She's talking to you, Pence.
Whether it is in a local community, just reestablishing calendars, which churches, nonprofit groups, traffic patterns, people who don't have children care about the calendar for schools.
Why? Because it gets kids off the street? Calendars? Has she been talking to Kavanaugh? What?
Kindergartners and elementary school students simply cannot learn looking at a Zoom screen.
Look at her. Guess not. Thanks to the 2 new Patreon people that just joined. Aw, thanks. Look at that. We got 2 new patrons in the last hour. Thanks, Can't Stop Lying, for pointing that out. By the way, hi. Bless you. You're wonderful. Are you cooking something today? I hope so. I live vicariously through some of your vegetable cooking and chopping activities during the show. That said, made myself an egg and rice bowl for my meal today. Good times.
If they could, we wouldn't need schools in the first place. We could just plop them in front of a television.
Yeah, why didn't they think of that in the 1800s?
Last place in the world a middle school student needs to be is online, unsupervised by a
Well, why is that the option?
adults. They bully each other when they're in front of teachers.
These rotten kids.
You can't even imagine what's going on with social media right now.
I think he can. Do you realize who you are talking to? You're shitting me, right? You're talking to the President of the United States about you wouldn't believe the shit people say on social media? The dude just retweeted a video where someone yelled white power. Can you imagine this? Can you imagine leaving? I mean, it's bad. We need to get the president back in elementary school because unsupervised, he isn't. Be best, Donald.
Young adults and high school students are losing hope and optimism for the future.
They are? Why?
And in February,
does any hopeless kid lose hope during this time? Does any hopeful kid lose hope during this time? Is there not a, thank you, Kalima. What?
they had so much.
You didn't hear the guy say white power, Marcus? Oh, indeed they did.
And now we turn on the television and we can see the destruction that lack of hope and optimism is causing.
Huh? I know what it is. We need to get God back in schools. And not God, but and we know which God it is. I'm just saying. The God of both Corinthians.
Employers have to rebuild their
Yeah, she's saying that you're a crap parent.
companies. They need employees at 110% to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's not possible. Can we send this woman back to math class? And I do not want. I don't want. Oh, I see you, Marcus. Thank you. I do not want this woman homeschooling children if she thinks there's such a thing as 110% that's required of everyone every day. We need people operating at 110%, Mr. President, if we're going to bring this country back. Well, shit. I don't know what I'm going to do because I got to spend, let's see, 10% of my day is, of course, eating and washing myself and making sure that my nutritional needs are met. That's a pretty small slice of the day. And then of course, I've got to educate my children, even when they do go to school. Like they, come home, make sure that they've got, the requisite philosophical learning that's required in parenting. There's after school activities, and at the end of it, honest to God, I've got about 27% left over that I can give to the country as a whole to help it get better. And I hope that's enough, because apparently I'm picking up the slack for people who can only deliver 5% because they're overwhelmed because they expect other people to give 110%. Why are you looking at Kellyanne Conway when you're saying people need to show up and do 110%? Okay. Where's your extra 10% of everything you have?
Everything we could to flatten this curve, and we have to roll up our sleeves now and rebuild our companies.
Did she mean the bell curve? What happened?
But we can't do that when employees are dividing their time between taking care of their children indefinitely for who knows how long,
Till they're 18, I think.
and trying to get their job done. I have one employee who has 5 children.
I had to let her go because that is just, I mean, she shouldn't be working anyways because women belong in the home.
His wife is a dental hygienist. I'm granting him as much grace as I possibly can, which is easy to do. He's a wonderful employee, but I can't even imagine what it would be like to have 5 children and all of a sudden have to homeschool them all. And it's not even homeschooling, it's helping them with digital learning. Homeschool parents.
If you got 5 kids, I mean, unless she had quintuplets, maybe the older kids help with the younger kids. You do realize we had a country before we had a public school system, right? And like Abraham Lincoln taught himself law, saying there's options out there. And we're 2 months into a contagion that won't last another year. There will be therapeutics and other situations where we can track and trace it. There'll be apps and all kinds of this is the modern era. We shaved, 6 weeks off the school year? And this woman's this is the collapse of Western civilization? It's summer. This would always be true during the summer. Is it she's like, I'm about to fire this asshole because he's got 5 kids and he can't do his job and I don't know what it's like to school them or whatever. It's summer break. This would be true last year in July.
Have asked that we're careful about not conflating the two. For me, I'm a single mom now. In
Why did he leave? What did you do?
2007, 8, and 9, I went through financial crisis. My then husband's business failed. We lost.
Oh, is it? You kicked him to the curb because of money. All right.
Our house, we lost our cars, we lost everything. I cleaned houses to help make ends meet.
Good for you.
I've done everything possible to rebuild. I know what those families who are now unemployed are facing. Trying to divide their time between taking care of their children, not knowing if their children are going to be educated, and figuring out what they're going to do with their life is the hardest. It's incredibly
Yeah, we get it.
difficult. And for people who think, oh, we can just work at home, or we're essential, you're an essential employee, it sends the wrong message. Every single person in this country is essential.
Well, I mean, look who you're sitting next to. Really? If she didn't have her job tomorrow, would anyone miss her? Like, what? Oh my God. Kellyanne Conway didn't show up for work today. Really? She's got the sniffles. Oh no. Where will I get my lies from?
You're the United States.
Oh, it's okay. Kaylee McEnany showed up. It's cool. We got it covered. She's all right. We got an understudy.
Of America. Every one of us is essential. Every one of us is important.
No. I'm not essential. I'm icing, and I understand that in my normal job in comedy and acting, television, all those kind of things. Those are socially worthwhile things, and I'm proud to do the work that I do. But I'm not digging latrines in The Walking Dead or growing the only corn for miles. Let's tap the brakes on our own self-importance, shall we?
And we...
Tell me about us.
Not every single family can afford a computer so that their children can be on.
Right, that should be up to the state. The state should have provided everybody with a free computer when this shit started happening.
Fine.
What I mean, honest to God, that's a solution. Your average low-end Lenovo laptop, something like that, a $500 or $300 laptop, you buy them in bulk because it's the government. You pass them out, you give them to states, you go, hey, every family, give one to every household that doesn't have a computer. They can sign up and get one for free. And we'll provide them, if they can't get internet where they are, or but they can't afford internet, then we will provide DVDs, and then on the laptop they can write their schoolwork and hand it in by bringing it to school or any of those kind of things. Seems like a plan, right? Am I,
At the same time, or Wi-Fi, as Kellyanne was just talking about, to be able to do Zoom all at the same time. So families are suffering and the education is suffering as well. And as a single mom, this situation is ripping me in two.
I brought my children just so they could sit here and listen to me tell them how working for Tea Party patriots and having to raise them at the same time is tearing me apart.
You cannot be in two places at
Thanks, Kalima. I mean, it's not that big a deal, especially when you buy in bulk.
once, physically or mentally. And I'm doing the very best I can to take care of my children.
Who are awful and are right over there.
Their father, when they're living with their father, he does a great job taking care of them.
But he's an asshole, and
they're with me, I'm doing everything I can to take care of them.
This is a total Karen moment.
Help them prepare for their senior year of high school, makeup, prom, dealing with whatever
What prom? What makeup?
else we have to deal with from the shutdowns.
I'm a single dad, and what are you talking about? You have multiple older teenagers. They can dress themselves, brush their own teeth, do their own homework, understand the concept of a future. They're nearly adults. Stop acting like you have like Siamese toddlers that require special feeding 5 times a day. Jesus Christ.
Run a company and work, and it's impossible.
Yeah, that's why the CARES Act was put in place. Most of the shit that you're complaining about was stuff the Republicans would have cut.
It's impossible to do what we need to do, so the schools must be reopened.
No, her kids aren't 3 and 5. They're somewhere between 3 and 5 kids. She doesn't quite know how many.
It will stabilize our country. I cannot thank you enough for doing this today.
And look at Kelly, just, girl.
And sending this message. And the doctors who I've been working with, they want to do anything they can to help calm the fear that is permeating our country.
So much for Trump's, can we go around the table quickly?
They understand we have to have a healthy respect for the virus, and we have to be able to live our lives. And they and I will do anything we can to help you with that. Thank you very much.
Great job. Looks like you're doing a good job. Is your mother
Looks like a great job. Oh, he's going to talk to the kids. Oh, God, no.
doing a good job?
Is your mother doing a good job? And Kelly thinks that's great. Isn't it great? It's wonderful when we see him interacting with children so that, people see that he's, he's not just a man, but an Ubermensch,
She good, right? You said the right thing. Okay, great job. Thank you.
So good, forever. I'm not single. I'm just not with my kid's mom. So technically, I'm the only one responsible for my child when my child's around. There are people to help, I suppose. My girl and her older son, but
much.
This apparently these kids are old enough to go to the White House and not shit their pants.
Mr. President.
Please go ahead.
President, First Lady, Mr. Vice President, Second Lady, on behalf of the great state of Tennessee and Governor Bill Lee, I want to thank you for all of the help.
Is anybody allowed to come here who's not either a Tea Party patriot or has a Southern accent?
And resources and support that you and your administration.
This is all about convincing the states where the cases are going to continue to spike into the fall, into going back to school. Because like New York and places like that, they're going to have a system set up. They are. You did? Why would you think that, you are too? She just handed me kittens yesterday.
Provided us. You guys have been accessible, you've been responsible, and that means the world to us in the States when we're trying to do our job.
Yeah, well, normally it would be the job of the president to ignore states during disasters, but I'm making a special case because I need you for re-election. You really think that? Of course.
I'm Dr. Lisa Piercy. I'm the Commissioner of the Tennessee Department of Health. I'm also a pediatrician and a mother of 4. And I know very clearly that education and economic prosperity
Why are we not cutting to her? Oh, I guess because she's on this side of the table, so now we're only looking at him.
are key drivers of health. We know in Tennessee that kids have to get back to school and parents have to get back to work. It's
He does his best. You don't say face.
paramount for our economy and it's paramount for the health of our nation. And we're doing our part in
Well, twin, you don't say faces.
Tennessee for that effort. And thank you
Yeah,
again.
thank you, and say hello to Bill, please. Thank you.
Thank you for saying that quickly.
Doctor?
Doctor, glad I'm not sick.
Thank you, Mr. President, First Lady, Vice President, Second Lady. I want to really, today
Oh, it's Dr.
was
Burks.
a really terrific day
Terrific day. Today's a terrific day.
because it took Americans' children, put them in the center, and said this is not going to be a unilateral and a unifocal, one-dimensional discussion about COVID-19, but a discussion
This man doesn't know what unifocal means.
transcended that single moment
What does unifocal mean?
and brought in the other issues of mental health,
Oh, that's like focus. I see.
academic health, emotional health, and really said that it's important to the whole child to have the availability of schooling. And I think having
The whole child, without going to elementary school, some kids' feet will fall off.
that discussion that was multidimensional,
Don't say whole child. It upsets mother.
having teachers here and students here and the health commissioners here and the secretaries here was really very helpful because I think it not only put
Just
the
the
child
facts,
at
ma'am.
the center, but also made it clear about how important these other issues are that are beyond COVID-19 in the health and welfare of our children.
It was at that moment that Karen realized she would be wearing a mask forever.
And so the discussion was terrific, and I think we have a way forward.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Tim.
Me in today's event. I think I'm on now. Thank you for including me so much in today's event. I want to thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I want to thank the Vice President, the First Lady, and the Second Lady for your comments and for all the concern you've had for the education of our children.
Yeah, it's the President of the United States. You're supposed to.
I come today as a parent, as an OBGYN physician, and as the managing partner of my
OBGYN. What does that mean? Obstetrics, it's at ophthalmology, old boys, what is it? Roy G. Biv? No, that's wrong.
practice. This has been
Thank you,
a
Benny Loco.
very scary,
And thank
but
you, Halle
also
Berry.
a very enlightening experience to have walked through. It's been
Oh, God, I can't with the... We're just going to be going through the back of this table just staring at his head, and then they just cut back and forth. Oh, wait, he's going to interject something, though.
maintain the intelligence of their children and of our future.
She's going with total, Tiger King situation. She's got tiger stripes on here, and then she's got spotted... Oh, thanks for the super chat. Look at that. It's almost like I'm pointing at it, Ben Loco. Thank you. She's got a leopard mask happening right there. It's a whole Tiger King, Karen, what's her name, setup.
And so I thank you again for your interest in this
No, thank you for thanking me. It shows a lot.
and for letting us be here. Thank you.
I think it's very important to note that we've done it right.
It's important to take a moment to recognize that I'm doing awesome.
We closed up. We were...
Because of China, early on, people said it wasn't a good idea. And then I went golfing.
Amazing the way our great citizens adhered to what we wanted to do, and we saved, I think, millions of lives.
We were doing it beforehand. No, you didn't save millions of lives. Doing nothing would have caused the deaths of millions. That was not an option. When you're president of the United States, you can go, hey, if I'd have just, thrown all the papers in the air and walked away, we'd all been nuked by now. You don't get points for not doing that.
Now we want to be open. We understand the disease much better. Nobody knew what this was. Nobody had ever seen it before.
It's a novel coronavirus. You mean that's why the tests didn't work?
There's been nothing like this since 1917. That's more
In 1918. Son of a bitch.
than 100 years ago. But we saved tens of thousands of lives, hundreds of thousands of lives. And now
By what? Doing the basic?
we're open, and we want to stay open, and we will stay open. We're not closing. We'll put out the fires as they come out. I call them embers and fires and whatever you want to call them, but
I call them embers and fires and whatever you want to call them, because I don't really care.
I think it's very important to note what we've done. We've saved literally hundreds of thousands of lives. I was going over numbers before with the vice president.
The people did. The American people, by not going out. The deaths that are happening, all on you.
And if you looked at 1 million, 2 million, 2.5
That's if you did nothing.
million, those are all.
You don't get points for the option where you do nothing. When you're president of the United States, there is no point where you're going, like, well, you know, my fellow Americans, I come to you tonight for this Oval Office address, prime time, my first one ever, to tell you that we've got a disease coming into the country, and I've just decided to just let it roll. Just fuck it. I don't care. I mean, honestly, I don't need you. It probably won't kill enough of you where it'll affect whether I'm going to win or lose. You guys hate me already. And thank you. Because of my current poll numbers, I don't give a shit if 5 million of you die. So I'm just going to call it. Like, that's a possibility. You're going to roll with that. If we did nothing, this would have happened. And I could have done nothing. I mean, I never rule out doing nothing.
Reasonable numbers to what we could have had. Right now, we're at a number, as you know, far lower than that. And
far lower than millions?
Where would you say we are today, Mike?
We would say we're at weird, swoopy fender hair. Look, I know most of us can't get a hairdo taken care of, but what is that? What is that situation right there? It looks like some sort of odd helmet. It looks like a helmet made out of insulation. What is that swoop in the back? Like, I started getting that, you know, because of my headphones thing. It pushes him up, and you're always going to get a little bit of swooping as you grow it out. He's not growing his hair out. I have the excuse of at least being transitional. He likes it that way.
About 130. So
like 130.
We're at 130, and we could be at way over 1 million right now. And
no, we wouldn't. We'd only be over 1 million dead right now if literally you were like, we refuse to do anything. We're not supplying the states, and we're going to not let the states do anything. For there to have to be 1 million dead in this country right now because of COVID, he would have literally had to tell Cuomo and Newsom and Inslee and all the states that were affected early to stand down and not allow them to treat people, to deny them PPE, to literally be against any of the medications that they tested that actually work. The only way we'd be at 1 million dead right now is if he went, nothing goes through these patients but hydroxychloroquine. I don't care whether they're symptomatic or not, we're going to dose them with hydroxy, and that's that. That's the only way we'd have 1 million people dead right now. He's a moron.
Would have been 2.5 or 3 million people.
It's not going to be, no, over the course of the disease. Aw, kitties. Hold on, we need a break. We have to have a kitten break. Hi, look at this little guy. Just to calm everybody down, because sometimes, you know, this is one of the hardest parts, is when you have kitty videos, you know, competing with that. I can't compete with that. I know. You can't. You want to peek at those folks over that way? You want to be all. There you go. Hi. So yeah, he.
There he is. Look at this guy. Look at him. Look at him.
We are fostering these kids and trying to get them adopted. Look at this. Oh, look at this old puddin'. We call him Jordan because he sticks his tongue out. And he's got an underbite. Look at such an adorable one. Yeah. Look at, what is this going?
What's that? Who's there?
All right, you're gonna go back inside. Look at this. It's just stick. Just claws in me. You're so good. You're so good. You're such a good kitty. I'm gonna take back some of the things I've said about you. You've earned it. That's right.
Hi, buddy.
No, you're so cute. Okay, there you go. Kitty break. Oh, thanks. I'll miss you too. I'll be out in just a minute. I got another 15 minutes or so, I promise. We're not going to do this whole thing. This is insanity. Kitty break. Those cats were living in cinder blocks behind our house. Right on the side of our house, we had like 4 cinder blocks that we used to block the gate door. And they were hidden down inside of it. The mom had left them there, and they had hidden in there, and they were eating the dry food we left out for some of the other feral cats. And I came home, and Summer was already in the process of getting them, and she's like, I got 2 of them. I'm gonna go get the 3rd one. And we caught that one was running around. She goes, and the 4th one's down in the block, and I can't get him out. And I was like, okay. And that was the one we named Rocky because it's a fighter. Spitter, just awful. And was flipping out, this cat. And so I went in the house and I got a hand towel from the kitchen and reached down into the block and let it just freak out and attack the thing. And I managed to get my hand on it. I picked it up, managed to get my hand on its back as we were carrying it in, and it bit me right on the talking finger on this hand and just put a straight up hole right in the end of my finger. Oh, I would sing thank you for being Patreon 280. That's awesome. That's a good lucky number. Just a hole straight. It was like a thick needle. Just pow right in my talking finger. And you know, I, of course, went in and washed it because I was like, watch me like avoid COVID-19 but die of sepsis and rabies from a feral kitten. That is just the whole. Yeah, I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you. That's exactly right. Hold on. I gotta have more than one page.
I'm your father, Luke. Give in to the dark side of the Force, you knob.
So, anyways, they're all doing well. They all weigh over 2 pounds now. They can be spayed. They've had their shots. They're adorable. One person came to try and see if they might adopt them. They're gonna think about it. Pretty cute. So, and only a little bit of blood loss.
So, but now we're open, and now
We're not open. We aren't open. The country's not open, asshole. We got 11% unemployment. We're not open.
understand the vulnerable. We understand who has the biggest problem with it.
No, we don't. No, we don't. We know older people have a problem. We also know people who have comorbidities have a problem. But we don't know why some people end up on intubated for 90 days and end up having a leg amputated before their organs collapse and they die. We don't understand the ischemic stroke aspect of this disease, how it affects people who don't have, difficulty breathing. We're still checking to see if people are febrile when they go to like stores and events, when having a fever is not one of the main precursors of this disease. It's more common to lose your sense of taste and smell.
And we watch that group and that age group, and also people that aren't.
You're in that age group. You have those comorbidities. By the way, while he's saying this is no big deal, he has built a wall around himself of people who get tested and how far away they have to stay, because he wasn't social distancing initially. When they start testing everybody, he's like, oh, we got this test. It's a 5-minute test. It's awesome. And suddenly everybody was gaggled together. And then the test started, a bunch of people, like the vice president's PR person and a bunch of other people started getting sick. And they were like, oh, shit, the test is like flipping a coin. It only works half the time. So Trump didn't want to do anything. He only acted after states, companies, and other companies acted. So the million deaths would have happened by Trump's measure if we listened to Trump. Yeah. Yeah.
Feeling so well with respect to, in particular, Deborah, certain diseases. The diabetes is bad. The heart is bad.
The heart is bad, which is my favorite Celine Dion B-side.
And we watch very closely, and we've done it right. When you look at what happened with Sweden, I kept hearing about Sweden with the herd, with the pure herd.
The pure herd. Yipe.
The herd...
It's called herd immunity. People are going for herd immunity. Nobody calls it the herd or herd. We're going with herd. Herd. I guess maybe that's the Swedish thing. Oh my God, he's been listening to the Swedish chef. Herde. They went with the herde.
Concept of opening up and keeping open, all of a sudden it exploded. You look at what...
Yeah, exactly. Like you're calling for right now, dickhead. And they had way fewer cases than we did.
What's going on in Brazil and a couple of other places.
Right. Who also blew off social distancing and mask wearing and didn't have a national policy.
So
herde. Bark, bark, ding, mark, mark, dee, skiddy, skidoo. Bark, bark, bark. Today we make the Swedish cheeky.
Done it right, but now it's time to be open. It's time.
Based on what?
To stay open, and we will.
It's time to get open and stay open.
Put out the fires as they come up, but we have to open our schools. It's so important to open our schools.
Schools don't open till the fall. You're there to plan how it will happen. You have 2 months to figure out how to track and trace the disease, keep it away from the schools, test people who are involved in the schools, find some way of like teachers and anybody who works in the school is either going to have to be tested, or they have to live on site, or they're going to have like set up trailers where they can stay nearby, where they're not interacting with other people. We're going to put like those like ankle bracelets so we track where they go. And if they interact with somebody who's in a COVID hotspot, it goes off and they're not allowed to go to school.
You said, from a psychological standpoint, with respect to staying home any longer, you can't do it.
You can't do it. You can't stay home any longer. You'll lose your mind. I need to go golfing.
Can't do it. That has great dangers also. So that's where we are. We're not closing. We'll never close. You'll have certain areas that will have difficulty, and they'll do what they have to do, and that'll be up largely to the governors. But
yeah, because what are you? You're just the president of the United States.
Also, they're in very strong consultation with us. We're supplying them with tremendous materials and gowns and masks and anything else they need, and they should be doing it themselves. But
they should be doing it themselves. It's not like it's a national emergency. It's not like the disease came from another state. I mean, honestly, if Florida has hurricane problems, you could argue that they're unique to them, and should Montana be paying for Florida's hurricane problems, and should Florida pay for Montana's tornadoes or whatnot? I mean, you can argue back and forth about that. A national kind of emergency response might be a good idea if you want to be a functioning country, but yeah, there's some argument there. But what if the disease getting into your state isn't your fault, like Southern California and Arizona? Because the hot spots in Arizona are bleeding over into Temecula.
a lot of governors look very, very good. We've made a lot of governors look very smart that weren't so smart, and some have just done a good job right from the beginning.
You've made governors look smart? How? Explain yourself.
I'll give you a list. I could grade them. I could grade them out from 1.
Please do that. Yeah, grade them.
50, and you'd be amazed. You might be surprised at some of them, both good and bad. But I thank you very much for your remarks. I think it's very important. What you said, I think, is very important. Please.
Mr.
I'm going to sit here with the, doing the Steven Seagal being cold impersonation.
President, First Lady, Mr. Vice President, Karen, it's great to be here. And
Excuse me. Her name is Carrot. You do not.
We're honored to have with us
Disagree
today
with
our
the
amazing Vice President, Mike Pence, and his wonderful wife, Carrot.
to represent the great state of Indiana.
Oh, yeah. Luckily, there's somebody there to represent Indiana, because God knows Pence isn't there. Oh,
As president of Ivy Tech
yeah. Project Farting Eagle. All right.
Community College. We are Indiana's community college, so 160,000 students.
It's nice to know you. Hello. Okay, blah, blah, blah. All right. Does he answer anything? Does he talk? No, he just introduces. They go around the table more. Are there going to be any questions at the end of this nonsense? Does he just sign off? They go around there, they talk to these folks, and then they say no. And then they leave. Wait, that was the working group? Hold on a second. Wait, this is the last guy.
Incredible package of information that will be given out to our students as they return. Thank you so much for having us, and we look forward to this conversation. I learned quite a bit today. Thank you, Mr. President.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Great job, too. So I want to thank everybody, and I want to just say get open in the fall.
This isn't... I thought they were just going around the table to introduce themselves before they started talking across and going, hey, how about we open 3 days a week or whatever, or we do extended weekends, or we do rotating things, or we have high-risk kids, which are the, obviously the more social older kids, maybe learn from home, and the younger kids who need the more, interaction should start working, going back to school earlier, and we focus on the tracking and tracing around those schools. So we have like 5th grade and below, really focus on getting those kids back into school. And then middle schoolers and high schoolers, we start, doing a little bit slower because of their broader interactions and start a plan. Is this not... This was supposed to be a working group on this, and all they did was just go around, introduce themselves, bitch for half a second, kiss his ass. Everybody kissed his ass, and this is the end of it? Is this the end?
Once your school's open, it's going to be a much better climate than it is right now. We're on the right side of things, Deborah. I think we can say that. A lot.
Yeah, you can say it. Doesn't make it true.
Work has been done. We understand what.
Thanks, I am Alex Moore, for all the pictures and stuff. That's cool.
Doing very, very well. Again, mortality rate, the lowest anywhere in the world. And we want to get this done, and we want to get our country going again. Economically, we're doing well. We want to do well with the education. I see where Harvard announced that they're closing for the season or for the year. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's an easy way out.
An easy way out. You know what's really difficult? Replacing your tenured professors who are in that age range. These aren't elementary school teachers. These aren't high school teachers that can stay home for a time. These are the backbone of a higher education school that people take pride in having studied. People fight for a position at those schools so they can study with that professor specifically. And not just take their class, but interact with them, write papers. They get feedback from that person. If that person dies, it's not like, oh, Dwayne, you got a replacement teacher today. Our substitute teacher for this afternoon is Mr. Tompkins. This is Harvard. Why is this hard to figure out? And half of the kids are going to be living on campus. All of them are going to be doing it remotely. The teachers are going to teach remotely until such time as they can bring them back to classes.
And I think they ought to be ashamed of themselves. You want to know the truth. But I noticed that today, and probably others are doing that.
Oh, well, hey, Craig, welcome back, and I'm sorry you got hacked.
That's called the easy way out.
It's called easy way out. Really? Great use of language there. But, of course, you went to Wharton.
I don't know if people are helping them. I guess their endowment's plenty big. They don't have any problem with that. But that's not what we want to do, because it's very important to so many of the parents and instructors.
These are adults. This isn't high school. You have no say in private universities, dickhead. What are you talking about? These are grown people who go to school. They're 18. They're adults. They can vote. Haha. They can stay in their home state and vote now and remotely learn from Harvard for a year. This is moronic.
Doctors said today, it's so important that
Where will I get childcare for my 22-year-old undergrad?
the children at this age, especially, that they're together on campus.
It's very important that they need to be together, spanking each other with a wooden paddle and saying, "Thank you, sir, may I have another?"
And that's what we're striving for, and we're going to be very strong on that. We're going to be very, very powerful in that view.
Strong and powerful, and we're going to open very beautifully, and strong and powerful and beautiful, and fantastic job.
We want
inappropriate adjectives from the President of the United States.
Schools open in the fall. Tomorrow I'm meeting with the President.
Yeah. Harvard's none of your business. Universities, colleges, even community colleges are meaningless to this conversation. We're talking about K through 12. Do you understand the concept of parents having to take care of children who are under the age of 18 and 18-year-olds doing something else with their time? These kids can cook for themselves. They can dress themselves. Some can even wash themselves. They can educate themselves in other ways. Some of them take a year off and travel. Of course, they can't do that now because Europe won't have us because we have more cases than they do. Gee, I wonder whose fault that is. China, of course.
I say that to the media because it's going to be quite a meeting. He's a good man. He's a friend of mine, and we have a great relationship with Mexico, so we'll be meeting tomorrow. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Congratulations on being something, I don't know what.
Congratulations, everybody.
And they're just leaving. Hey, can I come? Hey, nice to meet you. It's a pleasure to meet you. You're a wonderful woman. Cheers. See you later. Bye, sucker. Wandering back to... That was bullshit. Why do we go there? That's just... Okay. Just keep walking. And there goes the social distancing, and everybody's just dicking around. Nobody gets to shake hands or wave at the president. He just leaves. They all wait till he's gone, then they leave. Didn't take any questions, by the way, from the press. Nothing. Good Lord. What a colossal waste of time. This was not a working group on getting the school. What was it called? Trump addresses reopening schools and nationwide coronavirus spikes. And they called it a summit on reopening the schools. They did nothing. Nothing. That is incredible. What? Nothing came of that. Nothing. I mean, honestly, the biggest part of it, and we skipped a bunch of people, but he didn't go, "Oh, we've learned some things. I made some notes. We came up with some good plans. We're going to Just like, we got to get it open. Bye. Click. See you later. Cha-ching. Jesus. Trump 2020, where leadership is optional. It's really not my fault. It's the governor's. Holy smokes. Thank you, Holliberry. Lovely. The virus came from China. I mean, China. He drinks our milkshake, indeed. That was just... You're right. It was pure trash. Just an election ad. That's all. Look, I had a working group. What more do you want from me? To listen and come up with a plan? Thanks, V. Gabriel. Thank you, Frankie, to the Happy Kittens Distraction Fund. Should I go get one more kitten before we get out? Hal from my teacher heart, thank you for this. Absolutely, Michelle. maybe you don't know, Michelle, but my dad is the black sheep of our family because he was he wanted to be an architect. He originally wanted to design cars, but my grandfather was like, nobody designs cars. You're not going to design cars. So my dad became an architect, which is just heresy. Everybody else in my dad's side of the family are teachers. Grandfather was president of Murray State University. My grandmother was the head librarian there. My Aunt Susan has the wing of a math school named after her. My uncle teaches English at Nashville Tech and was called the grammar doctor. Like they're all teachers. I come from a long line of teachers, and that's my grandfather. They didn't tell me this till later, but he used to give comedic commencement addresses. I was like, I don't know why you want to be a comedian. There's nobody in the family who's even remotely interested in that. And then it turns out my grandparents on my mom's side met in a theater group, and my grandfather used to give comedy speeches. So what a surprise. But when people go, if you had another career, what would it be? Teaching is definitely a part of it. That would be, and I think I just incorporate it into what I actually do. But I personally believe we could solve most of our problems in this country if we equally funded elementary, middle, and high school across the country so that poor districts had great schools no matter what. And we also deliver. Murph, are you coming in here? Is that you, Murph? My door keeps opening like I have a ghost, and I think it's Murphy. For those of you who don't know, Murphy is one of our bigger cats. He's going through a bit of a distressed time right now because the kittens have taken over our room, and that's normally where he sleeps. But we love teachers around here, and we're pro-education. We do not like the poorly educated. We prefer them to get educated. We don't blame them for not being educated. We try to fix it. You see what I'm saying? See, if you'd like the poorly educated, you would, I guess, want to keep them that way, right? As if they're a class of people. Yeah. Hold on one second. I'm going to see. Murph, is that you? You out here? Was Murphy kicking my door? Yes, it was. Huh? Oh, I see. Maybe. Is there another kitten? Oh, yeah. That one's, yeah. Hand me the orange one. She's knocked out. Or they'll live. Sleeping with them. Yeah. Hand him over. It's okay. He'll live. Come here, you. Look at, Sleepy. Come here. They want to see you. You'll get a nap. Don't worry. You can keep me up later when you run across me and step all over me. Look at you. Everybody wants to see you because you're beautiful. Because you're got your beautiful blue eyes and your little. Look at this. Look at everybody. Just loves you. Look at this. Looking at Camden now, off the side. Look at this. What is that? Who are you? Who's that? Who's this? Hello. You want to? I'm attacking you. Here it comes. Here you go. Are you looking at him? Hello. Oh, the yellow is getting taken out in the green screen. There you go. Yeah, sweetie. Look at this, sweetie. Look at this, sweetie. And it got a scratch from one of you right there. Look at that. Yeah, that's a good time. What is this happening? Are you okay? You were sleeping. You're sleepy kitty. Yes, you are. Yes, you were sleepy kitty. Where's your sleepy kitty? Oh, now she wants to go back to mama. So there's our second kitty sighting for the day. You don't even want me. You just want to go back to mama, don't you? Mm-hmm. You're sleepy. Look at this little fur kitty. Look at this little guy. Look at. Okay, here you go. You can go back to sleep. There you go. Oh, not even trying to move, just like put me back on the bed. That one's name is Hobbs. We're not that original around here. We try to keep it easy to remember because they were running around without names for a little bit, and we were just calling them out. It was difficult. Yeah. Oh, a ginger female. It's been diagnosed from afar. It's been. Yeah, my arms are getting bigger. They're good. I'm back to my normal thing. Yes, there was some purring. They're pretty sweet. Yeah, so here's our current state of affairs right now. This is relaxed. These are the arms currently. I keep you guys kind of informed on my on progress like that. Let's see. It's hard to like light for chest, but here's my Terry Crews. There you go. So keeping healthy. It's good. A little bit of intermittent fasting. We do OMAD. I do an extended OMAD, but that's basically it, and I highly recommend it. And we've got a bunch of people. Oh, wow. That's great. 288. Bless you guys for joining the Patreon. Thank you to the Super Chat folks, Frankie Smith and V. Gabriel and Holliberry, and Benny Loco, of course, as always. And I am Alex Moore. Thanks for hosting. I appreciate that, Craig. It means a lot. Good luck getting your name back. Sarah, thank you for the bits. Benny Loco, Holliberry again. Lightning Jelly followed me, which sounds very exciting, personally. And then Chris Likes PC Games is following me on Twitch. Look at that, 16 people over there on Twitch. Most of the people hang out on Facebook and YouTube, but the Twitch community is starting to grow. Twitch.tv/AlSparks. I will be gaming there again soon. And then, let's see. And Templeton's a rat. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Always good to see you. Mexican Crinkle. Persian Chick. Thank you, too. Holliberry again. Rob Glenn. Always a pleasure, brother. Scooter, thank you for the super chat. Krista Woods, Rogue M42, thank you for the bits. That's awesome. Just because bits. I look like Henry Winkler, do I? Like what era? Like Night Shift? That's a compliment, by the way, anyways, because Henry Winkler's a good-looking dude, and also one of the sweetest human beings that has ever lived. Night Korean Eats. Corrine Eads. Sorry, I read that quickly. Thank you, Paul. Tracy, thanks for your first. I was your first Twitch. I feel so proud. Austin Payne, thank you. Karen, Philly Dana, thank you as well. Karen, yeah, appreciate the super chat. Raphael, thank you. And Christina F, thank you too. And thanks to everybody who, Tracy Reffinetti, who followed during the break, who apparently was just, decided to follow when I wasn't on streaming. So, by the way, I cut a couple of clips from the Saturday show, and I posted them on my site to see if people start wanting to watch like little pieces again. And I'm going to try to increasingly do that for people who can't stick around for the whole shebang. And so those of you that are here for the whole shebang, thank you. Those of you who don't have the attention span for it, or the stomach for it, which I completely understand, I'll keep doing little chunks to make it more palatable for you. That's a good one. That's 72 is solid. Thanks, Cam. Cam's keeping an eye out for which Henry Winkler I am. You look like Donald Davenport. No, Donald Davenport looks like me. Huh? You like it? You like that joke? Okay, thank you. Yeah, I am. Yes, 1 meal a day. OMAD, it's called. But I would not recommend that for anybody who hasn't done a decent amount of intermittent fasting first. I recommend intermittent fasting to everybody, though. My mom's even started doing it after years of me doing it. One of her neighbors started doing it and lost 20 pounds and is feeling way... Oh, nice, Richard Custer. You watch Edge of Tomorrow. I love that movie. Own it. Own Edge of Tomorrow, everybody. But anyways, intermittent fasting, if you don't know about it, it's basically you eat all your food for the day in an 8-hour window, and then you don't have any calories outside that window at all. Yes?
Someone missed lab rats.
Someone said they missed lab rats?
Yeah.
Well, I think that shows taste and breeding on their part. It's good. Yeah, let's see.
Same thing. Someone said they eat 1 meal a day.
Yeah. Jim does. And thank you, Arlene. I'm glad you got to watch the whole thing. If you only 1 meal a day, then you technically are fasting all the time. But highly recommend it. It's really good for you. It's good for your body to give it that break. And it has... Does intermittent fasting mess up your digestion? No, it does not. I've never had any digestion issues. So, yeah, there you go. I've never gotten the Fonz before. It might just be the hair, I suppose, at this length. Could that be what it is? I do that all the time. I eat 1 time a day. That's great, Penny. The object, though, is that you can't have anything that creates an insulin response the rest of the day. Otherwise, like if you're snacking or if you have any like milk in your coffee or whatever, it ends the fast even if you're not eating a meal. Aw, Georgina Poole, thank you for the Camden Fun Fund. Somebody just gave you $10 for fun. He's dancing. He's dancing a lot. Don't dance over here.
Yeah.
Don't you even think about it. That's really, I can't type, from fasting. Oh, okay, gotcha. I'm for it, yeah. So, but have a great evening, you guys. I adore you. I will see you tomorrow, 3 o'clock Pacific time. More fun to be had, trust me. We're in the home stretch. 119 days and change, well, 117 now? 117 days now. Chewing gum, as long as it doesn't have any calories, shouldn't do it, but you should always be careful, and no sugar.
Someone said, what about chewing gum?
Yeah, I said that. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't, yeah. Yeah, as long as there's no calories in it, you should be fine, but it's still not that great an idea. I would say be a purist at first, then start testing the limits on what triggers it. That would be it. Benny Loco, thank you so much. I will see you guys. Yeah. A lot of water, you mean? Let's see. Yes. Do we overload Twitch? I hope so. We need to overload Twitch. All right. Oh, that was. Thank you, Benny Loco.
With a whole bunch. You have 2 screens with like 2 things.
Yeah.
So you can look at everything that everybody is saying.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. Like I have the Twitch over here and the regular chat over here, which includes some of the Twitch stuff, but because of the software, it automatically throws in that chat, and it's just crazy.
Everybody's talking.
It's overwhelming and very colorful, and there's all kinds of stuff.
Emojis.
My goal, Richard Custer, is that you and I get to play on Twitch together. We're gonna figure this out. I will do a fasting video, Ogmuse. I'll do that for you guys. All right, I'm gonna sign off. You guys are wonderful. I will see you later on. Peace and be wild. Have a great Tuesday evening, and you know what I mean by that.
Do you dance?
Do I dance? I'm about to start dancing right now.
Well, it's a well-known fact, Sonny Jim, that there's a secret society of the 5 wealthiest people in the world, known as the Pentaveret, who run everything in the world, including the newspapers, and meet tri-annually at a secret country. It's a well-known fact, Sonny Jim, that there's a secret society of the 5 wealthiest people in the world, known as the Pentaveret, who run everything in the world, including the newspapers, and meet tri-annually at a secret country mansion in Colorado known as the Meadows.
So who's in this Pentaveret?
The Queen, the Vatican, the Gettys, the Rothschilds, and Colonel Sanders before he went tits up.
I'm just a happy camper. I feel like a Kentucky Fried Idiot. Why don't you just sit there and bleed a while before you taste some real pain?
I was thinking of the immortal words of Socrates, who said,
Call me Snake. Groovy. Call me Snake. Groovy.
I'm rich and I'm dead sexy.
Groovy.
I'm your huckleberry.
Groovy.
I was thinking of the immortal words of Socrates, who said,
Groovy.
It's good to be the king.
Hail to the king, baby.
It's good to be the king. It's good to be the king.
I'm dead sexy.
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit amphetamines.
Heat! Punch! No! Take off, eh?
I know that you and Frank were planning to disconnect me.
To be a moron. To be moronical. All I'm offering is the truth.
I'm your huckleberry.
Groovy.
Throw me a frickin' bone here. I'm the boss. Need the info.
I'm rich and I'm dead sexy.
I'm your huckleberry. I'm your huckleberry.
Stop breaking the law, asshole!
Man, you are one pathetic loser. Groovy. We've got entirely too many troublemakers here. We've got entirely too many troublemakers here.
Beef jerky? No, son, thank you very much. No, it gives me the wind, something terrible.
Oh.
Sorry, I farted.
Bring out today! Diet Coke!
Groovy.
Diet Coke!
Groovy.
Diet Coke!
Would you classify that as a launch problem or a design problem?
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Take off, eh?
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
The sportos, the motorheads, geeks, sluts, bloods, wastoids, dweebies, dickheads, they all adore him. They think he's a righteous dude.
Just the facts, ma'am.
Tell him, McCluskey. Tell him what time it is. Tell him, McCluskey. Tell him what time it is. Tell him, McCluskey. Tell him what time it is.
That was really cool, by the way.
Lady, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to leave the store. Lady, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to leave the store.
Nice. Nice. Not thrilling. Nice.
Who wants some? Who's next?
Would you classify that as a launch problem or a design problem?
He thinks I made it up.
Unbelievable.
Wah, wah, wee, wah!
Shop smart, shop S-smart.
He thinks I made it up.
Unbelievable.
Thank you, Doc. You ever serve time? Just the facts, ma'am. Just the facts, ma'am.
Man, I'm tired of being right.
You using the whole fist, Doc?
The sportos, the motorheads, geeks, sluts, bloods, wastoids.
A chat with you and somehow death loses its sting.
Once it was reluctantly aroused. It was hard to get it aroused, and it is hard to get it aroused, but we got it aroused. We're honored to have with us today our amazing Vice President, Mike Pence, and his wonderful wife, Karen. You have nobody guarding your potatoes. You have nobody guarding your potatoes. And you know, when you see a per capita, there's many per capitas, it's like per capita relative to what?
Just follow the money.
That's great psychology. Why don't you just say something bad about my mother?
I gotta barbecue your ass, Liberalism!
gum, and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
I guess I do like black people. It just took a white one to prove it to me. I feel no shame, only pride, because my syphilis is a badge of honor.
You're not hearing what I'm saying.
Oh, that's okay, Doc, because you're not saying what I'm hearing.
We need you. Hell, I need you. I'm a mess without you. I miss you so damn much. I miss being with you. I miss being near you. I miss your laugh. I miss your scent. I miss your musk. When this all gets sorted out, I think you and me should get an apartment together.